top unit is very dangerous with Rabkin, Deputy, and McLaughlin.
Well, we'll step away in just a second. One more quick thought, something that's different when you look at these two teams.
It seems to be the depth for Muskegon. All four lines, I don't even know if, well, that's a lie because their top line is clearly one of the best in the league, but they can roll all four lines. They get on the forecheck. They're so good at the 200-foot game. It's going to be very hard for Waterloo tonight to find any odd man rushers.
Well, the Muskegon Lumberjacks led by Parker Burgess, the Waterloo Black Hawks by Matt Smaby, who you heard from just a few moments ago. We'll have the starting lineups for both of these two coaches as we get going. And of course, Carter Casey is in the starting lineup for the Black Hawks, as he has been throughout the postseason. He just got the biggest ovation that you heard there in the background a moment ago. Game one of the USHL Clark Cup final. The Black Hawks back at this stage of the postseason for the first time since 2014. Muskegon here for the first time since 2015. Puck drop coming up after this on the Courtyard by Marriott, Black Hawks Network, and 1650 The Fan.
The Courtyard by Marriott in Waterloo is the place to fuel your passion when you visit the Cedar Valley. Built in a historic John Deere factory, the Courtyard by Marriott is a short walk away from Young Arena, the John Deere Tractor and Engine Museum, and more. Visit the official hotel of the Waterloo Black Hawks. The Courtyard by Marriott at 250 Westfield Avenue in Waterloo's vibrant downtown offers a state-of-the-art hotel experience while providing more flexibility and choices for their guests. Courtyard by Marriott, fueled by passion.
Please join me in congratulating the
Served your country and graduated with honors? Proud of you.
Thank you, Grandma. Joining the Army has many benefits. Celebrating your college degree without the burden of debt is just one of them.
The Army paid for it?
Yes, Unc.
Visit the Waterloo Army Recruiting Station at 2060 Crossroads Boulevard or call 319-300-3178.
Whatever your project and wherever you are, Karen's Print Right can handle all your printing needs under one roof. This is Black Hawks coach Matt Smaby. From design to delivery, Karen's Print Right does it all.
Hey,
Forms
Tucker,
or
we might
business
need an
cards
extra
for your
30.
office, invitations or envelopes for special events, yard signs, rubber stamps, screen printing, and so much more. Find all the details at karensprintright.com, where you can also request a quote right from
Might
home.
need an extra 30.
Right on Falls Avenue in Waterloo, and open online around the clock at karensprintright.com.
If you've got the right tools and the friendly people at US Bank in your corner,
Tell you what, I
smarter
think we
money
might be
choices
okay
is
after all.
easy. If only our tools and helpful advisors could have helped you avoid some of those not so smart choices in life, like that time you tried to pick up unicycling.
Oh, coming through!
Yeah. Or when you thought it'd be okay to pet that squirrel in the park.
Good squirrel, good squirrel.
While we can't help you with all that, we can help you bank smartly at usbank.com/smartertogether. Member FDIC.
The Waterloo Black Hawks play here. 1650 The Fan.
It's a big crowd. It's not as big yet as it's going to be, with Black Hawks fans still coming in for game one of this USHL Clark Cup final. The Black Hawks and the Muskegon Lumberjacks. Glad to have Johnny Lazarus with us from Daily Faceoff. He's a former college hockey player. Let's take a look now at the Coors Light starting lineups. First for the Muskegon Lumberjacks and their head coach Parker Burgess, Chika Gadziev. 5-0, a 1.74 goals against average in the postseason, a save percentage at nearly 95 during playoff hockey. Xavier Bayu and Finn McLaughlin, the starting defensive pairing, with Tynan Lawrence centering David Deputy and Ivan Rabkin. And for the Waterloo Blackhawks, Carter Casey, no one's played more in the crease for any USHL team in the postseason. 8-2, and he's gotten every decision. He's played the whole way for the Hawks in these playoffs. At 2.34 goals against average, his save percentage at 92.5. Morgan Brady and Teddy Mulgrave start on defense, with Brendan McMorrow centering Brady Deering and Hunter Ramos. Scratches for the Blackhawks and head coach Matt Smaby, Jesse Orlowski, Brock Schultz, and Cam Hendrickson all out with injuries of one kind or another. Our officials for this game: Grant Hendrick and William Frazier, the linesman Craig Ford, and Josh Rosenbaum. And we have just an extra moment or two, so let me give that to you, Johnny, and what's the last thing you're thinking before puck drops on this game?
You just want to get that first hit out of the way. You're not even thinking about the puck on your first shift, and both teams are starting their top guns, their first line. So who better to start the game than your three best offensive players up front and the reliable guys in the back end, and we know both goalies have been studs as well. So the first shift of the game, dump the puck in, throw a hit, get off. Just feel it, let the momentum, let the moment sink in, play the rest of the game after that.
The Muskegon Lumberjacks joined the United States Hockey League in 2010. Since then, there have been 9 different teams that have won the Clark Cup. Muskegon has not been among them in one opportunity to do it. The Blackhawks in that same span have also not won a Clark Cup despite reaching the finals twice since 2010 and 4 times since last raising the Clark Cup in 2004. Just about ready to get this game underway. Before we do, we'll remind you that Blackhawk Playoff Hockey is brought to you in part by M-Code Transportation, delivering excellence, building careers. Become part of the growing team at M-Code Transportation. Call 319-274-9909 or email info@mcodetrans.com. And our broadcast also brought to you by Ronan Industries. Ronan Industries has been in business since 1999. They manufacture wholesale wood packaging products like custom wood pallets and crates for both domestic and international requirements. Ronan Industries, proud sponsor of your Waterloo Black Hawks. William Frazier ready to drop the puck between Tynan Lawrence and Grady Deering. And the 2025 Clark Cup final is underway as Deering pulls the draw back to Morgan. Brady banking it off the wall, redirected across into the Muskegon zone, but picked up by the Lumberjacks. And Veyu trying to push it back to the line. McMorrow was in the way. Puck does eventually get out to center, but not far, and Veyu has to play it back to his own zone. Rabkin fed it ahead, and it's freed up at center. His deputy was checked. His takes the puck rink wide for Brady. On a clearing attempt, goes back rink wide though to Ramos, carrying out to center. Headman pass for McMorrow, knocked away. Deering gets it back and cuts in 2 against 3. Tries a shot that's deflected and recovered by Lawrence, who sends it off the boards behind his net, picks it back up himself, and speeds out to neutral territory. Crossing the red line and backhanding one that does get down deep behind the Hawk net. Michael Phelan chasing, got a stick to it, and rims a pass to Chase Jete counterclockwise. Then out to center for Townsend. He had a hat trick in Game 3 against the Lincoln Stars. He plays it down toward the end wall. Big hit by Morick. And the puck is shot out to center by the Lumberjacks in the neutral zone. Picked back up by Townsend. Skating across the width of the ice. Lost the handle. Clee pokes it over the Blackhawk line. Picked up and carried by Chris to the end wall. Checked there. Picked up by Davatilla for Waterloo. Reversing course. Lost it for a moment. Got it out of harm's way, but forced to the boards, and now Chris ties him up. Clee comes to try to help. He's tangled up. The puck back to the line. McLaughlin missed the net with a try. It comes off the end wall. Chased by Peddle. Couldn't get there though. Galanic took it away. The veteran for Muskegon. Pokes it behind the Hawk net. Chris backpedaling, centering. With shot by McLaughlin. He scores! Before the first whistle of the game, Finn McLaughlin has made it 1-0 Muskegon, just 1:29 into the opening period of Game 1.
And the Muskegon Lumberjacks felt like they had nothing going for them on that forecheck. A lot of throwing that puck around below the goal line, but it's Jack Christ who has the poise to hold on to that puck for just the extra second behind the net, letting Finn McLaughlin walk down that dot. He knows exactly where McLaughlin's going to be, throws that saucy little pass, and McLaughlin wastes no time with the one-timer short side high. But great to see Jack Christ have the poise on that play, because you could sense the nerves here in the first minute and a half, and nobody was really holding on to the puck aside from Christ.
So the Lumberjacks out to the 1-0 lead early. Ty Mason for Waterloo countering. Wrist shot, and he scores! Here come the Hawks! Waterloo answers right back with a goal just 9 seconds after Muskegon had gone into the lead.
And Young Arena is going nuts. Who could have seen that coming after the early goal by Muskegon? No time wasted. Ty Mason keeping it simple, trying to get himself into the game. Just throws a simple shot on net. And Godziev just a little bit nervous in his own crease. Lets that one slip through his 5-hole, it looks like, from our angle. Not a very dangerous shot or a high danger scoring chance for Mason. But that's the nerves of these kind of games, and what a start here at Young Arena. 2 goals in the first minute and 40.
As the first goal of the playoffs for Ty Mason, and the Blackhawks get the ideal answer after falling behind. And here's Sam Huck to the offensive zone, lost the handle just inside the line. Lumberjacks try to counter, and it's bounced into the Blackhawks and got caught up in Compton's equipment. He doesn't know where it is. The whistle sounds. And so we've had 2 goals before we've actually had play stopped by a whistle.
You don't see that ever, huh?
Not in a championship series.
And I gotta say, Waterloo got off to such a hot start. Physical, throwing the body. It seemed like Muskegon hadn't even thrown a hit yet before McLaughlin scores that goal. You'd think the momentum was on the Blackhawks side in the first minute or so, but Muskegon comes out and quiets the crowd, and then obviously Mason to score that goal 9 seconds later. That's exactly what you need here in response.
1 shot on goal each way, and they both have gone in. 18:08 left in the opening period. A face-off at the right of Carter Casey. Hawks win the draw in their own zone. Compton below his icing line avoids the forecheck of Sanderson, and shot down and deflected deep into Muskegon ice. Picked up by Jake Toll, chased by Huck, but he shuffleboards it out to the neutral zone. Reversed by Bogus, and picked back up by a turning Reese Lance. We got a tangle up near the Blackhawk blue line between Walker and the Lumberjacks Van Blaricom. Hawks, well, started out with the coming to Walker at the Muskegon line. Flipped it down towards the end wall. Clockwise, recovered by Danny Pryor as he fell down. Hawks take the puck away. Couple of Hawks, though, collide. And the Lumberjacks recover possession. 2.5 minutes into the first, 1-1 the score.
A little sloppy so far to start, too, but you got to think if you're Coach Snaby on that Waterloo bench, you're saying, boys, throw the puck on net. Godjev hasn't even made a save in this game yet. We got to test him a little bit.
The puck back inside the Blackhawk blue line. McMorrow gets it quickly back out to center. Shoveled it ahead. Deering chasing to try to save. Icing! He looked like he was there. He certainly touched the puck first, but icing is the call. Not quite 3 minutes into the opening period.
I thought Deering beat that for sure. I'm surprised they called that. This is a big offensive zone. Face-off now for Muskegon. You get your top line out there, one of the most dangerous lines in the league. That's a controversial icing call because now the Blackhawks might be forced to defend in their own zone against a really tough top line.
The face-off will be at the blocker's side of Carter Casey.
Interesting setup too right here.
Not quite 3 minutes into the first period. And a false start on the draw, so Deering tossed out. And now he'll be brought back to the dot. Matched up against Lawrence. Same face-off matchup to start the game. Deering wins it. And Mulgrave brings one behind his net. Ramos got a piece of it but couldn't knock it past Mayu, and the Lumberjacks deputy handing it off for Lawrence, trying to get it back to Rabkin. Now it comes back instead to Lawrence, who shoots. Fought off by Casey. Puck along the end boards. Rabkin centering one. Intercepted in the slot by McMorrow. Has to dash behind his net and find some room. There comes out right of the goal. Fell down. Lumberjacks take the puck back. Deputy moves and shoots. Fought off by Casey at the post to his right. And the centering feed didn't get out in front by Rabkin. Hawks will take it and clear, and they'll take another icing unless Ramos can get there. And this time it is washed out as Ramos throws off the check from McLaughlin and tries to get control of it. It's batted into the slot. Chate poke checked, and it's recovered by the Lumberjacks with Rabkin going behind his net. Bounced out to center. This could be icing on Muskegon, and it will be an icing call with 16:21 to go first period. 1-1 the score after the Lumberjacks got the goal on the first shot that they attempted. That was a Dan McLaughlin chance, and the Hawks answering 9 seconds later with a goal from Ty Mason.
Incredible hustle by Hunter Ramos to beat out that icing after an icing call 30 seconds before almost cost them. Brendan McMorrow makes a great play, getting out of the three-man forecheck there by Muskegon, but loses an edge, and it almost ends up in the back of their own net. So you can sense a little bit of nerves on both sides right now, but both teams are skating, and they're skating hard.
Well, Hunter Ramos, not too long after he arrived in Waterloo, said distinctly and in front of a microphone he was here to win a Clark Cup, and now 3 wins away. 16:15 left to go opening period. 1-1 the score between the Blackhawks and the Muskegon Lumberjacks, and Muskegon credited with 4 of the 5 shots on goal in this game. Waterloo Black Hawk playoff hockey brought to you in part by Famous Dave's. Famous Dave's Catering is ideal when you want your event to be delicious and stress-free. Weddings, graduations, family celebrations, any event big or small, call Famous Dave's in Cedar Falls, 319-266-0200. Hawks win the draw in the offensive zone. Townsend to White Rabbit, dashing for the right wing corner. On his backhand, steered it behind the net, looking for Morick. Couldn't wrap it around, though. Ends up in the opposite corner. And Clares keeps it away from Morick, getting it to his defense mate, Bauer Berry. Then for Galanic, carrying out the center. Rink-wide pass up off the ice. Ricochets down into the Blackhawk zone. And Nestrasil hit behind the Hawk net by Petal and knocked to the ice. Jete, meanwhile, for Waterloo. Got it back out to neutral ice. Ran into Galanic there. Puck trickles down into the Muskegon zone. And Clares takes over for Nestrasil, tipping it to Blackhawk territory. Petal retrieves for Waterloo. Snaps it ahead to Hawkins coming into the offensive zone. He's on a 6-game goal streak and has 8 total in the postseason. He plays it behind the net. Taken back there by the Lumberjacks, reversed by Teddy Spitznagel. And brought back toward the line, although Toll ultimately the one who brings it out after Dexheimer handed it off to him late. The puck is shot to the Hawk line where Mason volleys it the other way, and Hawkins will get enough of it to send it into the left wing corner. Toll begins again, trying to play it clockwise. Compton seals the boards right wing side. Has some help in the form of Hawkins, who goes below the icing line, trying to throw off a check from Dexheimer. Got spun around. Davatilla trying to get there, recovered the puck. He'll drop it back to the line, has just enough on it so that Bogus could not seal the boards. Has to flip it back into the left wing corner. The Hawks get back onside as the Lumberjacks take over. Just past the 5-minute mark of the first period, 1-1 the score. Gherkin, the Black Hawk line, lifted it off the window, now chases behind the Black Hawk goal, ran into Walker there, puck comes free. Walker had it, couldn't do anything with it though. Drew Stewart, former Cedar Rapids Rough Rider, gains the handle, comes out outside the right wing circle, then reverses it back behind the Hawk net for Gherkin. Trying to drop it off, and didn't have a passing lane, forced to the boards by Walker. Puck comes free, Hawkins still out there at the end of a shift, gets to the red line for a diagonal dump in, chased by Kasiba. And Kasiba just couldn't quite keep that one away from McLaughlin, but now pressure put on Walker, banging shoulders with Vayu. And the Lumberjacks fail to clear. Kasiba turning and shooting, missed the net. Bounces into the right wing corner. And Walker flattens the Lumberjacks. McLaughlin, so Huck takes it behind the net. Stops there, wants the center, drops it back. Brady caught it on his offhand. Goes rink wide, Mulgrave. Wrist shot, fought off by Godziev, and it goes up over the end glass, out of play.
I thought that hit the crossbar, but what a forecheck that starts with Bradley Walker, and then it turns into a great offensive zone shift by the Waterloo Black Hawks. Fourth line, that's the first shift of this game where the Blackhawks have really had an offensive zone possession. Early on here in the first 6 minutes, it's just been dump, chase, and throw the body, and it's really been Muskegon who's held on to the puck. So good to see Waterloo finally possess it and get an offensive chance.
Just more than 6 minutes gone, opening period, 1-1 the score. Game 1 between the Waterloo Black Hawks and Muskegon Lumberjacks in the Clark Cup final. Best of 5 series, games 1 and 2 at Young Arena. Games 3 and 4 if necessary in Muskegon as the Hawks win a draw, and Phelan misses the net with a low shot. Petal picks it back up out to Phelan, never got there, picked off on the way. And Rabkin bounces it to the Hawk line, but Lawrence could not keep it away from Phelan. And he gets some help now from Deering, moving it back in front of the benches. Bauer-Berry trying to reverse it. Deering just missed controlling it, and now Lawrence flips it down towards the end boards. Cuts behind the Black Hawk. Nice poke check by Petal, who stole it. Rims it up the wall, not out. Berry tapped it in, collides with Deering. Puck goes back into the corner on left wing, and a nice play by Phelan to get it off the boards. Back to Deering just inside of his blue line. Snapped it out to center, picked up there by McMorrow. On left wing into the offensive zone. Drop pass, Deering shoots one, and that one was off the leg and well wide. McMorrow got it back for Deering inboard. Centering went too much on it. It hopped over the blade of Ramos' stick and goes all the way back down into the Blackhawks zone. 7 minutes gone in the first period, and a 1-1 score. Reese Lance picks the puck up, shakes it off the right boards, trying to get back to it, but he collided with Bogus. Now it's Morick for Waterloo. Counterclockwise to Jete, and after a tour behind the net, the puck came to Jete to flip down into the Muskegon zone from the red line. Jake Toll gives the puck back to be brought up ice by Lance. Forced to turn near his blue line, but hangs on to it. Comes into the offensive zone, and Klee will ring it behind the Hawk net. Klee spent a season in Waterloo. His last 2 have been in Muskegon. Hawks get it back out to center, though, after a takeaway. And Townsend with a chip and chase. Lance looks over his shoulder, taps it away from the oncoming Townsend. Lumberjacks play it up the wall. Jete gets a piece of it, and it comes into the right wing circle. Then Townsend, a sharp angled chance, it was blocked. Townsend gets it back to Jete, trying to nudge it back to Brady. It's forced out to center with a good effort by Spitznagel, who was almost knocked into his bench by Jete. Here's Mulgrave back to the offensive zone for Morick, left wing board, shooting. It went wide. Karam's out of the right corner to Hawkins. Up the wall, and Mason, who has the Hawk goal, had the puck hop away here. Put off the glass by Stefanik and helped along out the center by Spitznagel. Now Mason turns and hurries it back in on left wing. Started the year in Fargo, fell down, and the Lumberjacks take the puck back with Sanderson receiving a pass, but then stripped by Reed Davatilla, who also started the season in Fargo. Ryan Whiterabbit up the ice to the Muskegon line for a shot by Mason that was deflected, still gloved by Godziev with 11:34 left to go in the opening period. 1-1 the Hawks and Lumberjacks. We got a timeout on the ice. Let's come back in 30 seconds on the Courtyard by Marriott, Blackhawks Network, and 1650 The Fan.
Shop, donate, or volunteer to help Habitat for Humanity at the Restore in Waterloo. Whether you purchase or donate furniture, building materials, You make it possible for families in Northeast Iowa to achieve home ownership in decent, affordable housing. Visit the Restore at 4107 Hammond Avenue in Waterloo, or check them out at webuildhabitat.org/restore. Help Habitat do more. Shop the Restore in Waterloo.
6 combined shots on goal so far in the game in just more than 8 minutes. 2 of them have gone in, and those 2 goals were separated by 9 seconds. Finn McLaughlin for the Muskegon Lumberjacks, and Ty Mason with the answer. And again, both former Fargo Force players. There's a lot of Fargo Force influence in this game, and there's going to be somebody who wins the 2nd consecutive Clark Cup, because Finn McLaughlin and Reed Davatilla were traded from Fargo to Muskegon and Waterloo respectively on the same day back in late February.
And that's why you trade for those type of players, because they know what it takes to win this time of year. And what you're seeing right now, honestly, from Waterloo, started with that shift by the 4th line about 3 minutes ago. They finally get in the zone, they possess it, they cycle the puck, they get it from low to high and get a scoring chance. And now Waterloo's feeding off that.
Hawks win a draw. Shot by Peddle was deflected, went up over the crossbar. Now it's Barry for the Lumberjacks, trying to bank it out and get some help. Big hit by Jete on Galanic. That may have been just a little early. Puck did get out the center. Hawks dump it back in.
Jate's thrown like 3 huge hits already here in this first period.
He also had the big collision with Spitznagel in front of the Muskegon bench just a moment ago in his last shift. Almost 9 minutes gone in the first period as a stretch pass deflection goes deep into the Black Hawks zone. Casey banked it off the end wall for Phelan, then Morick saw Galanic coming, got rid of the puck for Townsend. 2-on-2 to the Muskegon line. Townsend up the slot, left circle shooting. He scores! Here come the Hawks as Teddy Townsend fires from just inside the left dot. He was tracking that way, shot that to his right, and put the puck by Gadziev. And Townsend, who had a hat trick in Game 3 against Lincoln, adds another goal to his postseason total at 9:04 of the opening period.
The individual skill of Teddy Townsend is on display, but that whole play starts because Reed Morick, the captain of the Waterloo Black Hawks, picks his head up in his own zone, makes the pass into the neutral zone to a speedy Townsend before taking a big hit on the forecheck. And Townsend, the poise to hold on to that puck, cut across the middle, and then go against the grain with that strong wrist shot of his, really beats Gadziev, who's been shaking here in the first 10 minutes of this game.
The 7th goal of the playoffs for Townsend. He is now just 1 behind Caden Hawkins. And Hawkins not just the Black Hawk goal leader in the playoffs, but tied with David Deputy of the Lumberjacks for the most in the USHL. Hawks with a steal as Bogus feeds it to Kasiba up the ice with Huck. Kasiba trying to split defenders, lost the handle, and it's picked back up. Now Huck with a shot, he scores! Sam Huck with a goal from the left circle after the takeaway by Kasiba when the Lumberjacks mishandled the puck near the side of the net, and Chika Gadziev is coming to the bench. The Lumberjacks are making a netminder change less than 10 minutes into the first period.
Another goal where the Waterloo Black Hawks take a hit to make a play. This time it's Nick Bogus who gets buried in his own zone, but that leads into the forecheck for Waterloo, and it's the 4th line again who's all over Muskegon, smothering their D. They turn the puck over, and Sam Huck finds that open ice, doesn't waste a second. The second it hits his blade, he roofs it short side high, and now 3 goals on 4 shots to get Gadziev yanked from this game.
22 seconds between the goals by Townsend and Huck, and the Black Hawks lead for the first time. The Muskegon Lumberjacks not just changing netminders, but taking a timeout, so let's take one as well. 3-1 Black Hawks, not quite halfway through the opening period. This is Black Hawks hockey on the Courtyard by Marriott, Black Hawks Network, and 1650 The Fan.
Pit Pop Popcorn. It's a poppin' in Iowa. But many people don't have world-class popcorn growing in their neighborhood. Pit Pop is grown better right next door in Cedar Falls. Never fear, you can ship Pit Pop popcorn anywhere in the United States. Think of those people who don't have Pit Pop popcorn at their local grocery store. Send them a Midwestern care package from fit-pop.com. That's fit-pop.com. Pit Pop Popcorn. It's a poppin' in Iowa.
A wild opening 10 minutes. Game 1 of the USHL Clark Cup final between the Waterloo Black Hawks and the Muskegon Lumberjacks. And the Hawks, after falling behind Less than a minute and a half into the opening period, now up 3-1 before the first period is at its midpoint. And the Hawks with the puck, and Deering on the move. Hands the puck off for McMorrow. Back for Deering. Quick chance, and a save by Peck on his first chance. We haven't even had a chance to introduce Stephen Peck, and he's already made a good save on a transition opportunity by Grady Deering.
And that's an easy first save for Peck to make. He's in good position. Deering doesn't get a lot on that shot, so Peck can actually come in and feel the puck, because right now he's been thrown into a fire. Waterloo is all over Muskegon in their own zone, and they have no answer for it for Waterloo's forecheck.
Stephen Peck is a Michigan recruit in the postseason. 4 games prior to this one, 3-1 with a 2.88 goals against mark and a save percentage just under 90. Puck back in play as Morgan Brady gets control of it near his blue line. Turns away from Deputy, fed it to Ramos. Intercepted by Rabkin, but he was only able to play it back across the Hawk line. The Hawk sent it the other way as Deering is jostled by Barry, but got enough of it to knock it down into the right wing corner. Players place it around the boards. Deputy waiting right of his net, chopped it to center. Barry checked in the neutral zone by Peddle. And back in his own zone, it's Phelan for Waterloo. Up the wall right of his net to Ty Mason. It was Mason's first goal of the playoffs that got the Blackhawks going after Muskegon scored first. The goal by Sam Huck a moment ago, his first of the postseason. Here's Mason across the Muskegon line. Lost the puck in the left circle. And it's rimmed behind the net with Vayu. Trying to get it to Stefanik, and then back to the line with Clares. Banking one, Stefanik's way, crossing into the Blackhawks zone for a shot. Casey to save, rebound in the slot, but controlled by Davatilla. Knocked down from behind. The Hawks veteran forward still able to get the puck to Mason, and he'll dump it in. And boards, Hawkins trying to take it away. It is nudged away from McLaughlin, recovered by the Lumberjacks and cleared, but intercepted by Thompson. Then White Rabbit snaps it up the left half wall. It goes clockwise around the boards and back to the line, and just enough from Spitznagel to get it past Morick out to center, but again the Hawks have possession and neutral ice. White Rabbit trying to thread one through traffic. It went off the skate into the Muskegon zone. The Hawks are offside. Just more than 11 minutes into the opening period. 3-1 Waterloo as the Hawks get 3 on 5 shots so far in the game.
And the Hawks are feeding off of this home crowd right now. Every time they go to throw a hit, before they even make contact, the fans here are going nuts. But that's the difference between the two teams right now. Muskegon skating the puck over the blue line, trying to make a play. Waterloo is chipping it behind their D and then throwing the body, and that's where all this positive momentum is building on.
Daily Faceoff host Johnny Lazarus has joined us for the opening weekend of the Clark Cup final. He'll be back with us for game number 2 tomorrow as well. But this one has had plenty of action in the first 11 minutes plus, with the Blackhawks on top 3-1 and the Lumberjacks getting control at center, dumping it in. Brady keeping it moving for Jete. Up the wall for Morick to send out to center for Townsend, who's already got a goal in the period. Backing down a defender, takes a wrist shot, gloved and held by Peck. Muskegon, maybe more so than any other team in the USHL playoffs, has been able to use both their goaltenders. And so Stephen Peck coming in where he's already played 4 postseason games and should feel a little bit more comfortable than your typical netminder coming on in relief in this circumstance.
Peck is 3-1-0 in the playoffs so far with a .896 and a 2.88 goals against average, but you can see already in the first couple saves he's made, he's a calming presence. Godziev was a little bit out of control in his blue paint to start this game. You could sense that he was nervous, but Peck right now has come in and I think settled things down a little bit.
Worth mentioning, the Blackhawks did get to Peck for 5 goals in a 6-2 win at Young Arena with the first time these teams met. That was a long time ago. That was back in October on the 11th. The Blackhawks did win both games in the regular season series against the Lumberjacks. That 6-2 victory and a 4-3 win on April the 6th that I referenced when talking with Blackhawks head coach Matt Smaby in pregame. Really a turning point game in a positive direction when things looked sort of bleak for the Blackhawks at that time. Hawks win a draw. Brady puts one toward the net, but it goes off the leg. Townsend gathers it. Left wing boards for Waterloo. Sent it behind the net, but it was deflected. Never got to chase Jete off of Bayou's stick up out of play.
Something interesting to note too, Tim. Waterloo is a perfect 6-0 at home in these playoffs, and Muskegon is 4-0 on the road. So one of these teams is going to lose for the first time in this situation, but I've been speaking to a couple players on the Sioux Falls Stampede who played against Waterloo in a playoff series, and they both said, I'm not going to name names, but they both told me that Waterloo is impossible to beat at home, and right now you are seeing why.
Well, I think worth mentioning that game that the Blackhawks and Lumberjacks played back on April the 6th. The Blackhawks have won 8 of 10. Actually, let me correct myself. They've won 10 of 12 if you include the last couple regular season games. As the Lumberjacks, Lawrence getting an opportunity, but just couldn't connect with Rabkin. Hawks take it back. Hawks have won 10 of 12 they've played since that time. The Lumberjacks have won 10 of 11 that they've played since that game. So both teams playing excellent hockey as the puck came in front of the Muskegon net, knocked down, and the Lumberjacks control with Clares feeding it up the ice and nudged away from Deputy. Then he's knocked off the puck by his former teammate. Hunter Ramos is going to get the first penalty of this game. And Rabkin goes over to give Ramos the business as the linesmen go to intercede. Muskegon to the game's first power play, and a big one here. 12 minutes gone in the first period with the Blackhawks up by 2.
The officials have been letting them play here so far in the first 12 minutes. But on that instance, Hunter Ramos catches Deputy crouching down a little bit, and that hit looks like it caught Deputy up high to the head. That's what they called to me, maybe a roughing. Didn't see what the actual call was because there was a scrum after the whistle, so we got a little bit distracted up here as the officials discuss it right now, but that hit looked a little bit high, and you can't do that.
It is a head contact penalty. They give it to Ramos as a minor, and no move to review this. Also no indication that there'd be any extra misconduct. 7:56 left to go in the first period. Blackhawks 3, Lumberjacks 1. Before the Muskegon power play, just want to pass along my thanks to Brad Oistad, who was with you last week when the Blackhawks and Lincoln Stars matched up for Game 3 and 4 of that series. I had an excused absence, and Brad more than ably filled in, and appreciate his efforts. Also, we owe you a station ID. You're listening to 1650 The Fan, KCNZ, Cedar Falls, Waterloo, broadcasting on K272GA at FM 102.3, a Koloff media station. Game 1 of the Clark Cup final between the Waterloo Black Hawks and the Muskegon Lumberjacks. It was 1-0 Muskegon at 1:29 of the first period. 9 seconds later, the Blackhawks tied it. They haven't trailed since, and in fact swung in front with 2 goals separated by 22 seconds. But now the first power play of the game gives Muskegon an opportunity to try and draw back within 1, and the Lumberjacks have been very good.
And Waterloo's bench was chirping David Deputy because he was the one that was down from the hit of Ramos, and he's back out here right now, but you're not going to sit on the bench and miss a power play opportunity.
Muskegon, the best team in the USHL on the power play during the postseason. They get control off the draw, and there was an open side on a feed to Deputy. He swung and missed. Hawks get control and send it around the boards back out. Muskegon at just under 42% effectiveness on the power play during the postseason. Blackhawks on the penalty kill at 90%. As Deputy brings it back to the Hawk line for Lawrence, who sets up shop on the left wing boards. Comes off the wall for Deputy's side of the net. He eyes a centering feed, and it's broken up by Brady. Couldn't clear it, though, as Deputy swiped it back. Out to Lawrence. Then for Deputy in the left wing corner, 40 seconds into the power play. Deputy back to the deep slot. It's McLaughlin who has the Muskegon goal. Out to the right wing circle, and it's centered by Rabkin, deflected. Picked back up by Deputy. Clee setting the screen at the top of the crease. Puck comes back to the line. Lawrence under some pressure. Jete took the puck and spins it down the length of the ice after the steal, and both teams will make changes. 13 minutes into the first period, halfway through this Muskegon power play. 3-1 Waterloo.
Pretty passive PK so far by the Blackhawks, but Muskegon having a hard time finding those lanes. It was a good look by Rabkin to Deputy for that backdoor seam, but that's all they've had so far here in the opening minute and change.
Oh, 2 Lumberjacks collide in open ice. Huck takes the puck to Mason. Odd man look, 3-on-2 for Waterloo. Flip to the offensive zone. Huck up the slot, and he's tripped up. Penalty called, and that will nullify the power play, or will there be something else? It's a slashing call, but no penalty shot.
I wanted the shot. I thought Sam Huck was clear cut in by himself on a breakaway. What a quick transition play by the PKers for Waterloo. They pounced on 2 of the Muskegon Lumberjacks hitting each other. You rarely see that from this power play. And on the attack go the Blackhawks. Unfortunately, Huck couldn't elevate that puck on the breakaway, but it's because he was flashed.
Well, the Blackhawks will take the penalty against the Lumberjacks because now it's 4-on-4 for 37 seconds, and eventually the Hawks will go to their first power play of the game, and Waterloo during the postseason at better than 31% on the advantage. Muskegon, 82.1 on the kill. Hawks have allowed 2 4-on-4 goals in these playoffs. They've not scored one. 3-1 Waterloo, 6:33 to go first period. 4 goals combined on 11 combined shots on net. And the face-off in the Lumberjack zone, pulled back by Davatilla, but it goes between Phelan and Bogus. And the Hawks regroup. The slashing call was against Chase Stefanik. Here's Bogus, juggling one ahead for Davatilla. Poke checked at the Muskegon line. Lumberjacks get the puck back. 4-on-4 for another 20 seconds. Claire's on left wing to the Black Hawks zone. Backhanded centering feed was broken up. He gets the puck back along the end wall. No, he didn't. He overskated it. It's Townsend instead for Waterloo. Accelerating out to the neutral zone. Harassed by Claire's. Turns, keeps the puck. Puck's about to come to full strength as Phelan directs some traffic going back to his own zone. Steps behind his net with Stewart showing some pressure. Now Compton out there as the Hawks get a power play unit on the ice. Compton up the rink, headman pass for Deering with speed on right wing, moves in and shoots, saved by Peck, rebound picked up, fired off the boards and out to center by Klee.
Deering was shooting for a rebound there too. He saw McMorrow crashing for the rebound on the far post. Just an unfortunate bounce.
Ramos for Compton, right wing circle. Compton at the top of the power play scoring list in the regular season. Now it's Hawkins at the right point. Drifting, shooting, fought off by Peck, rebound pushed just wide by Ramos. He got it back behind the net, not a lot of room though with Barry leaning on him. McMorrow picks it up, drops it back. Here's Hawkins, left circle for Compton, right point. Back paddling, now shooting. Saved by Peck in the butterfly position. And Nestrasil able to clear it. 40 seconds left on this first Blackhawk power play of the game. 5:10 to go, first period, 3-1 Waterloo. Ramos in the referee's crease. Gets to the line, trying to center, taken away by Galanic. He clears.
A big kill for Muskegon so far because they haven't had much to feed off of. But if your penalty kill comes up big in this moment, that is contagious throughout the bench.
Ramos takes a deflected pass and comes in on left wing, side of the goal, then behind, wraparound try, and an open side. It was a goal saved by Veyu. Puck back to the line. It's Brady, right point, final seconds on the advantage. Hands it back off Hawkins, then back to Mulgrave. The puck hopped on him. He curls towards the boards and comes off the wall left wing side. Up the boards for Hawkins. Lumberjacks at full strength. A shot by Mulgrave, saved by Peck. Rebounds to the corner on the left wing side. Mulgrave, sharp angle chance. It was knocked down. And the Lumberjacks control with Lawrence back up the ice. Tynan Lawrence across the Hawk line. Forced into the circle and knocked off the puck by Morgan Brady. Just over 4 to go in the first period. 3-1 Waterloo.
That's not going to work in the Clark Cup final. You can't attack 1-on-3. You got to dump that puck in and throw the body if you're Tynan Lawrence.
McLaughlin kept it away from Mason, but then a blind pass taken away by Walker. Kicks to his stick, turning, shooting, saved by Peck. Rebound. Kept in at the line by Phelan, dashing across the high slot, flipping it into the left wing corner. McLaughlin pursued by Mason. McLaughlin got there first for his defense mate Lance. And then for Rabkin. Out to center, tape to tape for Deputy, trying to get around Phelan. He did. He moves in, and poke check by Peddle coming across from the opposite side to make the defensive play. Deputy got it back. And now right wing corner, it's Stewart centering. It was off the leg, picked up by Mason. Brought back out to neutral ice. Hooks a pass to Huck, kicks to his stick. Off the ice, offensive zone, shooting, Peck to save. Rebound. The Lumberjacks collapse back with 4 players in the slot. And get control, bringing it back out to neutral territory. Now a takeaway by Morick. Partial breakaway, Morick to the offensive zone. Curling, centering, Townsend in front. Stick handles, and scores! Teddy Townsend, his second of the period. What a goal! Flipping the puck past Peck. And here come the Hawks. It's 4-1 Waterloo at 16:43 of the first period.
That was disgusting. What a finish by Teddy Townsend, but the captain, Reed Morick, takes advantage of a turnover by Muskegon in the neutral zone. It's a 2-on-2 rush. Morick picks his head up and sees that Townsend is joining him to the 6-spin-around pass. And Townsend to have the poise in that moment to not just rip that puck, but to make 1, 2, 3 moves back into forehand and tuck it past Peck. What an incredible goal. His second of the period by Teddy Townsend. That was nasty.
His 8th of the postseason. And Caden Hawkins earlier in the playoffs for Waterloo had become just the 9th junior-era Waterloo player to score 8 goals in one playoff year, but now add Teddy Townsend to the list too, so that's 10. 4-1 Blackhawks as the Lumberjacks dump one in. It goes around the boards in the Blackhawks zone, and Jete finds a little room to operate for Townsend. Has one of 3 hat tricks in the USHL this season, looking for White Rabbit. Got to the line, flipped it behind the net. Morick handles it behind the Muskegon net. Stripped of it, though, by Klee. And spanked off the boards by McLaughlin. Not out. White Rabbit kept it in, looking for Jete in the slot, and it was just out of his reach. Now, Veyu with a pass that's deflected, and it goes down for icing. That one was out of the reach of the intended recipient, Van Blaricom. 2:46 left in the first period. Blackhawks 4, Lumberjacks 1.
I thought White Rabbit got a piece of that, and that's what Muskegon's arguing right now, that it shouldn't have been an icing. But if you are the Muskegon Lumberjacks, you are just praying to get out of this period 4-1, because this game, this period, is all Waterloo right now, and it is a storm. that Muskegon has to weather.
After the icing call, the face-off will be at the left of Stephen Peck, and it's pushed into the corner. McLaughlin batting it behind his net. Vayu banks it out to center. Carried to the Hawk line by Van Blaricon, trying to dodge. Phelan shoveled the puck toward the slot, and Galanic couldn't redirect it on goal. Phelan now lifts one that goes up into the protected netting. And play stops with 2.5 to go. First period. The Blackhawk goals in the game from Ty Mason, Sam Huck, and 2 from Teddy Townsend. The lone Muskegon goal was the first goal in the game from McLaughlin. That came 1:29 in. It looked like an ideal start for Muskegon, but this has not been an ideal period for the visitors.
We don't have the hit count in front of us, but I got to imagine that Waterloo has at least 20 hits in this period, and Muskegon might have 5. The start of this game, to your point, Tim, Muskegon was just trying to make skill plays while Waterloo was just pounding the Muskegon defensemen to create offense.
Lumberjacks win a draw. Shot by Toll was stopped by Casey. Rebound Phelan flips the pass to Hawkins. Then for Davatilla out to center. Got to the center circle and bounces it deep. He pursues the dump in. First one to it is Toll, though, for Nestrasil. Able to nudge it as far as Galanic. Then for Toll, jumping into the rush. The defenseman across the Hawk line pushes one toward the Hawk net. Casey kicks it aside. Hawkins put it off the woodwork, back out to center. Davatilla trying to get there, chopped away by Clares. Mason got a piece of it, but not possession now. Mulgrave does. He brings it into the offensive zone. Takes a shot, and Peck knocks it down, covered it up, and holds for a whistle, even though the Hawks had nobody closer than Mulgrave 40 feet from the net. Peck wanted the whistle.
Just the calming presence of Stephen Peck. You can sense it. Get the whistle, settle down. If you play that puck, you're forced to scramble on a set breakout, and guys weren't really in position, so a good heads-up play to me there by Stephen Peck.
Just under 2 minutes left to play, opening period. Game 1 in this best of 5 Clark Cup final. Again, game 2 tomorrow, 6:35. Tickets available now from tickets.waterloobblackhawks.com, but seats are going quickly. Hawks win the faceoff, offensive zone. Morgan Brady left point. Plays it behind the net. It goes clockwise, just out of the reach of both McMorrow and Ramos. And Rampton got it to center, but McMorrow swipes it back, makes a wide turn, and cuts right back in. Kicked off of his stick by Rampkin. But now Brady with a dump in. Just batted away from Deering by Barry, back out to center. And it goes into the Muskegon bench. 1:35 left to play, first period. Waterloo Blackhawk playoff hockey brought to you in part by The Bin Store. At The Bin Store, every trip is a treasure hunt. Find electronics, kitchen appliances, cosmetics, clothes, shoes, tools, and so much more. And save up to 90% with new inventory every week. It's the most fun you've ever had while saving money. Items at The Bin Store start at $8 and they drop every day of the week. Face-off just outside the Muskegon line. 95 seconds to go in this opening period. And the Hawks look like they had control. Stefanik takes it back. The Lumberjacks just stay on side, and they able to chop it behind the Hawk net. Brady keeps it moving, though, for McMorrow. Threads a pass to Deering. He tries to bounce it to himself. Barry used his long reach and kept Deering at bay, but Deering forced him back inside the lines. Doesn't stay there long. Tynan Lawrence back up the ice. Comes into the Blackhawk zone. Buying time in the high slot. Takes a wrist shot. Backhanded glove save by Carter Casey with 1:10 left to go in the first period.
Tynan Lawrence ran out of options quick there as Brady Peddle is in his ear right now. And I got to say, Brady Peddle has had a very impressive first period so far. So sound defensively, breaks up plays, has a quick first pass. He's talking smack. He does a little bit of everything on the back end of the Michigan State commit.
Well, he had a really solid season for the Blackhawks when it comes to plus-minus. He was among the best rookie defensemen in the league when it came to that stat metric. And he's shown some offensive ability in the postseason, too, when there's a lot of eyes on him. And, of course, this is his draft year.
Moves very well for a 6'3" defenseman at 191 pounds. He floats out there. But he stands out with his size. He's a monster.
Off the draw, Vayu playing it to Stewart behind the Blackhawk net. An early season acquisition from the Cedar Rapids Rough Riders. Walker took it away, then ran into the referee. Stewart gets it back, turns and shoots, and Casey makes the save and smothers the puck with just under a minute left to go in this first period.
Carter Casey has not looked nervous at all here in the first period. Granted, he hasn't been tested a whole lot since that opening minute. The saves he's had to make weren't as difficult maybe as the Muskegon goalies that we've seen so far here in this first period, but he looks very confident in that blue paint, number 30 in black.
For Carter Casey, 8 playoff wins. Only 2 other Blackhawk goaltenders have more than that in one postseason. One of them, Stephon Williams, New York Islanders draft pick and a very successful career at Minnesota State. The other, Kevin Regan, who was the 2004 Clark Cup Final MVP. Off the draw in the Black Hawks zone. Van Blaricom goes behind the Hawk net. Kept the puck away from Townsend, and behind the Hawk goal for Sanderson. And now brought in front, but intercepted there, and Grady Deering takes it. Lifts it off the boards in front of his bench. Morick pursuing. He's got a couple of assists in this opening period. Couldn't advance it, though, any further than the red line, and in fact, it's pushed back the other way, with Phelan putting it off the end boards for Peddle left of his net. And Brady Peddle snaps it ahead. It was not tipped. It's going to go for icing. Oh, boy, late whistle. Deering was working himself back into the play, and the whistle sounded when it looked like for the second time in the period, Deering was about to get there.
I thought that Muskegon defenseman, I couldn't make out who it was, pinched, though, on the Waterloo winger, which should have negated the icing. I was surprised they actually called that one, because it looked like Peddle made the good stretch pass there. I'm surprised they called that one an icing.
So it's a big icing face-off with just under 28 seconds left to go in the first period, and an opportunity for Muskegon to maybe draw one back and get to the intermission within two. It's a 4-1 Black Hawk lead. A false start on the draw. David Klee, after his one season in Waterloo, was drafted by the San Jose Sharks. Klee, 13 points as a Black Hawk that season. As a Lumberjack, he's stacked up considerably more. Lumberjacks win the draw. McLaughlin centers one from the left wing corner. It ricochets into the opposite corner. Then back out to the line. Vayu, wrist shot was blocked almost immediately. 15 seconds left in the period as the puck is chopped up into the air and bounced behind the Hawk net with Townsend retrieving it. Townsend takes the hit but flips the puck out to center. Morick reading it now one-on-one to the offensive zone, trying to step in front. McLaughlin kicked the puck away. That should just about do it for the period. Vayu may be looking for one more chance. A slap shot from center, partially blocked, and Casey turns to the side with no problem. And the fans come to their feet at Young Arena. End of one period. It looked like it could be a bumpy start for the Black Hawks, but it's a brilliant start for Waterloo. 4-1 Hawks at the end of 20 minutes in game one of the best-of-5 Clark Cup final. We'll be back with Johnny Lazarus at intermission to break down the opening 20 minutes, and we'll also offer some insights on some of the players we've been talking about so far on this Friday night at Young Arena. Blackhawks 4, Lumberjacks 1. We take a timeout on the Courtyard by Marriott, Blackhawks Network, and 1650 The Fan.
At Green Acre Storage, we can take it. Think of us as storage therapists.
2.5 minutes.
Thank you.
Storage units.
This one?
Yeah.
It is, if you take the S button in the bottom corner for summary.
Asked about our Penske truck
So
rentals and packing
the
supplies.
main page will automatically update. This one, though, you got to refresh.
Green Acre specialize in not judging. We'll keep your stuff and your secrets. Green Acre.
How much time we
Because
have?
life is hard.
2.5.
Storage.
Right now, someone is having fun at Maple Lanes in Cadillac Extreme Bowling Center. Sure, there's fun for bowlers, but there's also gamers, party animals, and anyone who loves good food. If you haven't been to Maple Lanes in Cadillac XBC lately, you don't know how much fun you're missing. Then there's Kingpin Social, open with a full menu for lunch and dinner every day. Maple Lanes, Waterloo.com, 2608 University Avenue, CadillacXBC.com, 650 LaFour Road. Have some fun tonight.
Save more with Viridian Credit Union. Score top shelf savings with lower fees and better rates on accounts, loans, and credit cards. At Viridian, you'll earn more on savings and checking accounts and pay less when you buy or refinance a home or vehicle. That's how our members come out millions of dollars ahead each year, giving you more. That's the value of Viridian. Go to viridiancu.org to see how you can save. Equal housing opportunity insured by NCUA.
Glenn just sent me this so we can try to work it in.
239-2772. As the weather warms up, this is the time to call Bugsy's Pest Solutions. Ants, centipedes, beetles, and other
I'll let
crawling
you
critters will be
I'll just
waking
read
up
it. I can just read that
them
word
while
for
they're
word.
still outside. Schedule exterior service for your home. Call Bugsy's at 239-2772 or make an appointment online at Bugsy'sPestSolutions.com.
The Courtyard by Marriott in Waterloo is the place to fuel your passion when you visit the Cedar Valley. Built in the historic John Deere factory, the Courtyard by Marriott is a short walk away from Young Arena, the John Deere Tractor and Engine Museum, and more. Visit the official hotel of the Waterloo Black Hawks. The Courtyard by Marriott at 250 Westfield Avenue in Waterloo's vibrant downtown.
I'm just going to read this word for word.
While providing more flexibility and choices for their guests. Courtyard by Marriott. Fuel by passion.
What?
On air and online, listen to Blackhawks hockey at 1650thefan.com. 1650 The Fan.
Waterloo 4, Muskegon 1 through 20 minutes at Young Arena in Game 1 of the 2025 USHL Clark Cup Final. Welcome back to coverage here on the Courtyard by Marriott Blackhawks Network, which is brought to you during the postseason in part by Lincoln Savings Bank. Lincoln Savings Bank, not just good, but better. Better solution seekers, better relationship builders, better community bankers. Lincoln Savings Bank, proud sponsor of your Waterloo Blackhawks. And time now for our scoring summary at the first intermission at Young Arena. And it was a wild start, Johnny. When we look back on this one, 2 goals in this game before we had a whistle for a stoppage of some other kind.
You never see that. But at the start of this game, Waterloo really got off to the better start in the first minute or so. But then it was Jack Christ who settled things down in the offensive zone for Muskegon, made a good play below the goal line, saw Finn McLaughlin creeping in for that one-time shot that beat Carter Casey high on the short side. And then you think from there, Muskegon's going to start to run away with things. But 9 seconds later, the whole game shifted.
Yeah, the goal by McLaughlin was at 1:29 on the pass by Christ, backpedaling behind the Hawk net. Also give an assist on that goal to Jack Galanick. And the Blackhawks answering just 9 seconds later at 1:38. They win the faceoff, and up the ice comes Ty Mason.
On a nothing shot, Ty Mason from the near side boards just threw a puck on net. Didn't even look like he was shooting to score, and it squeezed through the 5-hole of Gadziev. Gadziev, you could tell right from the beginning of this game, was not settled in. He looked nervous every time the puck was thrown his way. I mean, he allowed 3 goals on the first 4 shots that he faced. So right after that goal by Ty Mason, the Waterloo Blackhawks just started to roll from there.
First goal of the postseason for Mason, 1:38, assisted by Dylan Compton and Nick Bogus. And the 1-1 score held until 9:04. And then we had the first of 2 in another quick sequence. This time, though, both by Waterloo.
Teddy Townsend, the individual skill of him. He scored 2 beautiful goals, but his first one was a great play by the captain, Reed Morick, who took a hit in his own zone to make a play. Townsend was basically on a 1-on-2 by himself from the neutral zone all the way into the offensive zone. He made a great play to cut across the middle and shoot against the grain on Gadziev. Gadziev was sliding from left to right, and the shot beat him to that left side as he was on the right side, high to the glove. That's a goal. If you are the head coach of Muskegon, you want to see your goalie make that save. But just with the nerves and the energy of this crowd, for whatever reason, Gadziev had a hard time tracking that puck. But again, you got to credit the skill of Teddy Townsend.
His 7th of the postseason at 9:04, assisted by Reed Morick and Michael Phelan. And the next shift, the Blackhawks get another one, and that sends Chika Gadziev to the bench.
And to me, the 4th line for Waterloo in that first period, they set the tone with the first good offensive zone possession shift. About 4 or so minutes into the game after the pretty slow start offensively, but Sam Huck became the beneficiary of a really strong forecheck. Again, taking a hit to make a play in their own zone. This time, Nick Bogus chipped a puck out, and Waterloo got on the attack. Huck found that open space at around the far dot of the offensive zone, and one time the puck shot. Beautiful shot, beautiful goal, and an unreal celly as well.
Sam Huck, his first of the postseason at 9:26, assisted by Nick Kasiba after the turnover by the Lumberjacks. Also an assist to Nick Bogus, so he's got a multi-point game going. And speaking of multiple points, well, the Blackhawks' 4th goal, the 2nd of the night by Teddy Townsend. That came with just a little bit more than 3 minutes left in the period.
An absolute beauty by Teddy Townsend, too. His 8th goal of the playoffs in just 11 games, and I guess we can't even say 11 games because it's been 10 games in 1 period. This kid is on absolute fire, but it's the captain again, Reed Morick, making a great heads-up play, benefiting off of a coughed-up puck in the neutral zone by Muskegon. It's a 2-on-2 rush. Morick takes a peek over his shoulder, sees that he has Townsend with him, does a spin-around pass right onto the forehand on his offside. Townsend could have just ripped that puck for a one-timer right away, but the skill and the poise in that moment to outweight Peck in net at that point, and dance around him backhand, forehand for a beautiful goal. I mean, that basically blew the roof off this place. I mean, they were going nuts here in Young Arena.
8th of the postseason for Townsend, his second of the game, a second assist for Reed Morick. And so that's how the scoring wrapped up. Each team did have a power play, although in both cases it was not a full 2 minutes of power play time, an offsetting call partway through what was originally a Muskegon power play. So both teams 0 for 1 on the advantage, and that's a little bit of a surprise with as much power play success as these two sides have had so far this season. 13 shots in the opening period for Waterloo, 10 for Muskegon. That's our scoring summary at the first intermission, presented by Ted's Home and Hardware. Trooper Tools provide great value for the money. Right now, Ted's Home and Hardware is offering a selection of trowels and other Trooper handheld garden implements for just $2.49 a piece. Ted's Home and Hardware in Evansdale can help with your project. Stop in to see Ted and his staff. They're there to help at 3550 Lafayette Road in Evansdale. More to come at intermission. Blackhawks 4, Lumberjacks 1. We're back after this on the Courtyard by Marriott, Blackhawks Network, and 1650 The Fan.
Please join me in congratulating the new
Served your country and
one important thing I should have mentioned a long time ago. Not an issue with anything that's happened so far, but just because of the way this is all synced up, we're always hot on Flow.
The Army pay for it?
Yes,
It's not that big a deal, but just so you know.
This is the Waterloo One recruiting station at 2060 Crossroads Boulevard, or call 319-300-3178.
Should have mentioned that like...
Handle all your printing needs under one roof. This is Black Hawks Postmaster Inc. From design to delivery, Karen's Print Right does it all. Forms or business cards for your office, invitations or envelopes for special events, yard signs, rubber stamps, screen printing, and so much more. Find all the details at karensprintwright.com, where you can also request a quote right from home. Karen's Print Right on Falls Avenue in Waterloo, and open online around the clock at karensprintwright.com.
If you've got the right tools and the friendly people at U.S. Bank in your corner, making
So where do you wanna
smarter
go?
money choices is a piece of cake. If only our tools and helpful advisors could have helped you avoid some of those not so smart choices in life. Like
Talk
that
about the
time you
USHL
tried to
and
pick
getting
up
players to the NHL?
unicycling.
Breathe out.
Or when you thought it'd be okay
Try to
to
keep it
cut
pretty
that
quick. We went a little long in that first segment, so let's aim to try to be done by about 4 or 5 minutes left on the period clock.
At usbank.com/smarter together. Member FDIC.
Shop, donate, or volunteer to help Habitat for Humanity at the Restore in Waterloo. Whether you purchase or donate furniture, building materials, or appliances, you make it Iowa to achieve home ownership in decent, affordable housing. Visit the Restore at 4107 Hammond Avenue in Waterloo, or check them out at webuildhabitat.org/restore. Help Habitat do more. Shop the Restore in Waterloo.
Fit Pop Popcorn. It's a poppin' in Iowa. But many people don't have world-class popcorn growing in their neighborhood. Fit Pop is grown better right next door in Cedar Falls. Never fear, you can ship Fit Pop Popcorn anywhere in the United States. Think of those people who don't have Fit Pop Popcorn at their local grocery store. Send them a Midwestern care package from fit-pop.com. That's fit-pop.com. Fit Pop Popcorn. It's a poppin' in Iowa.
When it's hockey time in Party Town, the Black Hawks are on. 1650 The Fan.
Game 1 of the USHL Clark Cup Final. We're at the first intermission. The Waterloo Black Hawks lead the Muskegon Lumberjacks 4-1. You're also hearing in our broadcast from Johnny Lazarus, host at Daily Faceoff, a former college hockey player. And one of the things that stands out, I'm sure, to you, Johnny, the number of players from the USHL who have been finding their way to higher levels of hockey, not just the NCAA, but also on into the pros.
Well, there are a couple players that stand out in this game, too. Brendan McMorrow and Brady Peddle for Waterloo, both on the NHL Central Scouting list. For Muskegon, Tynan Lawrence, who will be drafted actually in 2026, and Ivan Rabkin, both found their way on Central Scouting. But I wanted to read out a little stat from the commissioner of the USHL himself, Glenn Heffron. The USHL made a big announcement a few weeks ago in conjunction with the National Hockey League, a declaration of excellence, which is a reinforcement of the commitment in all of the important areas of player development, including off-ice training, nutrition, mental wellness, and skill development. The USHL has drafted more players in the NHL over the last 8 drafts, more than any individual junior league in the world. Over the last 5 years, in 2020, they had 40 players. 2021, they had 36 players. In 2022 and 2023 separately, they had 41 in each of those drafts. And then last year in 2024, they've had 39. So in total over those 5 drafts, they had 197 players out of the USHL drafted into the NHL. And then when you go to the NCAA, over 50% of NCAA D1 players come from the USHL, and there were 70 plus in this year's Frozen Four. So unbelievable development in this league that gets players to the next level, and then you see them on the grand stage in the National Hockey League.
We are at the first intermission, the second period coming up as the Waterloo Black Hawks host the Muskegon Lumberjacks. Game 1 of the 2025 USHL final. We'll take one more timeout and come back for the puck drop on period 2 on the other side. You're listening to Blackhawks Hockey. This is the Courtyard by Marriott, Blackhawks Network, and 1650 The Fan.
At Green Acre Storage, we can take it. Think of us as storage therapists. We provide clean, safe, secure, climate-controlled storage units in a complete range of sizes. Feel free to unload on us in our enclosed and heated living area, and ask about our Penske truck rentals and packing supplies. And feel better fast, knowing the storage pros at Green Acres specialize in not judging. We'll keep your stuff and your secrets. Green Acres, because life is hard. Storage.
Right now, someone is having fun at Maple Lanes in Cadillac Extreme Bowling Center. Sure, there's fun for bowlers, but there's also gamers, party animals, and anyone who loves good food. If you haven't been to Maple Lanes in Cadillac
go ahead. I'll cover. I've got material.
A full menu for lunch and dinner every day. MapleLanesWaterloo.com, 2608 University Avenue. CadillacXDC.com, 650 LaPorte Road. Have some fun tonight.
Save more with Viridian Credit Union. Score top shelf savings with lower fees and better rates on accounts, loans, and credit cards. At Viridian, you'll earn more on savings and checking accounts. Finance a home or vehicle. That's how our members come out millions of dollars ahead each year, giving you more. That's the value of Viridian. Go to ViridianCU.org to see how you can save. Equal housing opportunity insured by NCUA.
Multi-Spec Solutions, solving problems, that's what we do. Multi-Spec Solutions, 239-2772.
As the weather warms up, this is the time to call Bugsy's Pest Solutions. Ants, centipedes, beetles, and other crawly critters will be waking up. Stop them while they're still outside. Schedule exterior service for your home. Call Bugsy's at 239-2772. Or make an appointment online at Bugsy'sPestSolutions.com.
Blackhawks Hockey on 1650 The Fan.
Waterloo 4, Muskegon 1. Second period coming up at Young Arena on this Friday night. Before we get there, let's check some other scores of interest. A couple of NHL playoff games. The Toronto Maple Leafs and Florida Panthers tied up at 3 in the second period. Toronto leads that series 2-0 going into Game 3. It's Game 2 in Winnipeg tonight between the Jets and the Dallas Stars. Dallas won Game 1. That one will get started in just about an hour. If you're looking for Chicago Cubs baseball this evening, that's over on Cruisin' KCFI, 1250 AM, 105.1 FM. And right now the Cubs trailing the New York Mets 6-1 in the fourth inning. Some other regional scores of interest. The Chicago White Sox on top of the Miami Marlins 2-1 in the fourth. The Milwaukee Brewers and Tampa Bay Rays tied at 2 in the sixth. The St. Louis Cardinals with a 6-0 lead in the seventh on the Washington Nationals. And no score in the fourth between the Kansas City Royals and the Boston Red Sox. One other regional game, second inning in Minnesota, the Twins with a 1-0 lead on the Giants. 2 goals for the Blackhawks, Teddy Townsend, and the first of the playoffs for both Ty Mason and Sam Huck. All that coming for Waterloo with 4 unanswered after the opening goal of this game was scored by Finn McLaughlin. And now ready to begin the second period with the Blackhawks' Brendan McMorrow headed for the dot, and Tynan Lawrence opposing him. Grant Hendrick drops the puck, and the Hawks control the face-off with Morgan Brady near his blue line, banking it ahead for Deering, intercepted by Robkin. Flipped the other way, but Mulgrave intercepts. Then for Ramos, tipping it down toward the left wing corner. In the corner there with McMorrow digging it out and trying to work back toward the line. Missed Deering with a feed. Lawrence recovers the puck, and after scooting behind his net, gives it to Rabkin, reversing it counterclockwise for Veyu. He got it to neutral ice. It's kicked down to the Blackhawks zone, but Deering collects it there. Rink wide for Brady. Up the ice, right onto McMorrow's stick. Carries across the line. Crisscrossing with Ramos. Drop pass just missed Deering, who was coming late. And Deputy counters. On left wing, Deputy got it to Rabkin, then back for Deputy. A shot and a save by Casey, who juggles, but hangs on. A little bit of pushing at the front of the net. 45 seconds gone in the second period.
David Deputy a little frustrated with himself because he's had a couple of good looks tonight. He had 2 or 3 grade A chances in the first period. Didn't get enough on that shot. Had it in great position inside the far dot. Tried to go high glove, but couldn't lift it enough. An easy save for Carter Casey.
So put yourself, Johnny, in the mind of the Muskegon Lumberjacks. You're down 4-1 after one period. What was the conversation like in the locker room?
I'd say, hey boys, we're getting bullied right now. This team is feeding off of their crowd. We got to find a way to throw the body, change the momentum, because every time we touch the puck, they're hitting us, but they're not feeling the same thing. We haven't dumped the puck in. We haven't gotten on our forecheck. We're trying to make too many skilled plays. We need to keep things simple and just chip away, one chip at a time.
Hawks win a draw in their own zone. Jete got it as far as the Muskegon line. It went behind the net where Barry reversed it. And it's players trying to clear. Morick batted it down just on the wrong side of the blue line, but the Hawks do keep possession. Now Phelan for Waterloo. To Jete, turning at his blue line, then Peddle has a lane on left wing. He'll send it skipping down behind the Muskegon goal. Peck playing it, and Townsend trying to take it away. He does. Townsend left wing corner for Waterloo, working back out toward the line. 2 goals already in the game. He turns and shoots, but this is blocked by Nestrasil and goes up out of play.
Teddy Townsend loves that little curl and drag move. He's scored a lot of goals doing that this season. Unfortunately, couldn't get that one through there, but what a play on the forecheck to strip the puck from Peck behind the net. You don't like to see your goalie, if you're Muskegon, playing the puck in that situation, but luckily it worked out in their favor.
Hawks will leave the same line out there for an offensive zone face-off at Peck's blocker side. 1 minute and 18 seconds into the second period. Morick will take the draw against David Klee. Even though Klee did play a season as a Blackhawk, other than perhaps Teddy Townsend, who would have been in Waterloo as an affiliate, I'm not certain that there's anybody else that Klee played with as a Waterloo teammate still remaining with the Hawks. Lumberjacks win the draw. Vayu getting it to Galanic. He sends one skipping down toward the Blackhawks zone, and we've got a whistle with Nestrasil chasing. Looked like he was across the blue line early.
Tried to get eager on that forecheck, but that's what you want to see from Muskegon. Get the puck fence and go get it back. Make them feel you. You don't want to obviously go out and try to hurt anybody, but you want them to feel a little bit of pain right now if you are a Muskegon forward going after the Waterloo defense.
Icing face-off at the left of Peck. And this one is pulled away from Morick by Klee, but Townsend goes to fish it out of the right corner. Trying to dash away from McLaughlin. He works back to the line, turns and wings it back behind the net. It rides the kick plate back towards the left wing side. Now taken and shoveled by Nestrasil to McLaughlin. McLaughlin with a second effort got it to the Blackhawk line. Play would have been offside there for Muskegon. Hawks counted the other way, 2-on-2, led by Jete to the offensive zone just onside for Townsend. He tried to feed it in front, looking for Compton, who was at the front of the net, and that was broken up. Now Nestrasil brings it back up the rink, hands it off. The play is offside at the Hawk line. So both teams having just a little trouble moving through the neutral zone in the way that they would want to.
What a play by Xavier Vayu, though, in the defensive zone for Muskegon, because that was a 4-on-2 rush for the Blackhawks. Teddy Townsend got it in a perfect shooting position, but instead of taking that shot, which would have been a potential hat-trick shot, looked backdoor, and in a 4-1 game, you can take that chance. If it's a tie game, I'm sure Townsend rips that thing. But a really good heads-up play by a stable defenseman in Xavier Vayu.
Blackhawks 4, Lumberjacks 1, almost 2 minutes into the second period. And the draw shot down into the corner at Casey's left side. Rim behind the net by White Rabbit. Hawks don't get it out on the first attempt. Back behind the goal it goes. This time it's chased down by Hawkins. He absorbs some contact. Got it as far as Davatilla. Dexheimer capped it in for Spitznagel. Shooting. Good save as Casey got just a piece of that one. Chris setting a screen near the top of the crease. And Mason now. Back out to center, lost the puck to Stefanik. Hawkins picks it back up and carries on into the offensive zone. Hawkins to the right wing corner, turns, drops it back, right point Davatilla to the deep slot. White Rabbit gives it to Mulgrave, firing. It was blocked, picked back up by Davatilla for White Rabbit. Backpedaling now, shooting. It flutters toward the net, gloved by Peck with 17:24 left in the second. 4-1 Waterloo.
I gotta say, I have been very impressed with Stephen Peck so far in this game. I know he's let up one goal, but he came in a really tough position for a goaltender after Your starter lets in 3 goals on 4 shots. He's really settled things down. This game could be 7-8-1 Waterloo already if it weren't for Peck. Even though that wasn't the most difficult save he's had to make tonight, just the composure he's had in the blue paint has really impressed me so far.
Yeah, Peck in that opening period and now early in the second has stopped 8 of 9 that he has faced. And the draw to his glove side with McMorrow pulling it back, but stepping behind him. Rabkin got the puck, nudged it out to center, avoided Peddle, then ran into Ramos, and the Hawks break down that Muskegon rush just inside the Waterloo line and shot back to center. Claire's turning in front of the Black Hawk bench, squeezed a pass up the boards, and Rabkin could put it into the right corner. That was all, though. Now Brady for Waterloo, keeping it away from Deputy. Ramos left of the net, rink wide pass, McMorrow. Navigates, gives the puck to Peddle, who's got a lane to carry in. Then back for McMorrow, right circle, put it toward the side of the goal, behind Deering. Now Ramos fires, went off of Peck's chest and ricocheted. Lumberjacks got it out of harm's way, but Ramos got it back. Now for McMorrow, who didn't have any points in games 3 and 4 of the Lincoln series after a dozen in the first 8 Blackhawks postseason games. Lost the handle, and the Lumberjacks get it to center. Rabkin for Deputy into the Hawk zone for a shot. He was skating right and shot left and missed the net. McMorrow flips it out to the blue line. It came back to him. He follows up and sent it Deering's way. Nudged from him, but McMorrow one more time. This time dumps it in before going for a change.
Muskegon's got to keep feeding David Deputy. He's got a sneaky release on that shot.
Well, earlier in the game, a couple of Lumberjacks collided. Here, a Lumberjack deflects a puck into a teammate, and the Hawks with a takeaway as a result. Puck now going rink wide for Kasiba, chasing it down, put it in front. Peck made the save, rebound, Bogus fires, and a save by Peck. Now Stewart, headman pass up the ice, finding Christ into the Blackhawks zone. That's Galanic, pardon me, turning outside the left wing circle. Into the corner, now deep slot. It's McLaughlin firing, deflected. And the puck bounces towards the line. Bogus out there without a helmet, trying to get to the bench. Long shot stopped by the Hawks. Casey goes behind the Waterloo net, and a centering feed didn't get out in front. Kasiba breaking it up. Puck trying to get possession back then for Waterloo in the corner, right-hand side of his goal. And the puck squirts behind the Blackhawk cage where Phelan picks it up. With time and room, snaps one off the wood, working out to center. Vayu hooks it back up the ice, but the Lumberjacks were changing, so it's a turnover as Phelan takes it back, looks at his options, finds White Rabbit coming out of the zone. Ryan White Rabbit, offensive end, wrist shot wide. Caroms off the inboards, Townsend shoots, and that one just changed directions off of a shin guard. Back at center, it's Compton. After getting the long carom, then for Jete, couldn't feed Morick successfully. And the Lumberjacks misfire with a pass intended for Klee going off his calf. Muskegon dumps it in. White Rabbit takes over for Compton. Banking it back to White Rabbit. Then Townsend actually will pick it up as White Rabbit let him come back for it. Then to Morick into the offensive end. A pair of assists in the first period. Headed across the slot. Missed Townsend, but Townsend takes the carom off the wall. Hands the puck off for Compton. Navigates above the right circle. Banks it off the boards for Townsend. Stops shy of the corner. Then to Brady, left point for Waterloo. Morgan Brady up the wall into the left corner. Navigating through some traffic. Lost the puck. Lumberjacks recover it with Klee. Trying to hit a home run pass. Compton back to break it up before it could find Nestrasil. Now Compton circles back into his own zone. Taking his time. Both teams were working on some changes. Compton for Davatilla. Deflected the puck, but it's swiped back by Toll. Got it only back as far as the Hawk line. Compton knocked it away from him, and Hawkins turns. Caden Hawkins banking it to Ty Mason. Backhands it down into the right wing corner. 6 minutes gone in the second period. Blackhawks by 3. Stefanik for Muskegon wants to bring it back out. Mason got in his way. It's a 50-50. Puck batted up into the air. Knocked down by Mason. Fed it Hawkins' way, deflected. Davatilla swung and missed, trying to dump it in on a deflection that bounced his way. And now Mulgrave bangs shoulders with Christ after he dumped it in. Stefanik out to center, finding Gherkin, crossing the Hawk line on left wing. Wrist shot, gloved by Casey with 13:34 left to play in the second period. 4-1 Waterloo.
Tim, you can sense the nerves have gone away a little bit here in the second period. Guys on both teams now are holding on to the puck a little bit longer, trying to make a play, not just dumping it in, not just making aimless plays. Muskegon has settled in a little bit here in the second period. They look like they've gotten back to their game. Now they just got to start playing some offense here. They're breaking the puck out well, but they haven't really been able to generate any chances on the other end.
6.5 minutes gone in the second period. No scoring in this frame after the Blackhawks had 4 unanswered in the first following Muskegon's early goal. Hawks only trailed for 9 seconds, though, before leveling the count between the two sides. 4-1 Waterloo. Face off at the right of Casey, and the Hawks get control with Peddle, keeping it away from Rabkin and sending it out to neutral ice before it's volleyed back into the zone and taken by Phelan. Up the ice looking for McMorrow. He turns and feeds Deering. Brings it into the offensive end. Got away from him. He gets it back from Clares. And they joust in the corner with Ramos coming over as well. Hunter Ramos surrounded as Lawrence took it, couldn't get it out. Lunging play by Ramos, couldn't get it back either. Now McMorrow, he had it but couldn't find Ramos up the wall in the corner. All three Blackhawk forwards on the left wing side. They rim it behind the net. Dexheimer chasing it down. Ramos bearing down on him. And the Lumberjacks give it up. Deering fires off of Peck's chest. It bounces Ramos' way. Tried a quick backhander and couldn't get rid of it. It's in the corner on the right wing side. Now back out to the line. Long shot by Phelan, missed the goal. And the rebound springs to Deputy, who rolled it back out to center. Picked off by Phelan there. Batted the other way. Lawrence picks it back up for Muskegon. And the Lumberjacks circle. And Lawrence coughed it up, but right there to control it, it's Dexheimer, and he brings it across the Blackhawk line offside.
A great scoring chance just a second ago by Grady Deering, and you had a great chance, Tim, to say off of Peck's Peck, but it was a good chest save by Stephen Peck in net. The first play of this period where Muskegon's really coughed up the puck in their own zone, and again, Peck has come up big time and time again so far in the early parts of this game that he's been in.
The Waterloo Black Hawks playoff hockey brought to you in part by Happy's Wine and Spirits, providing great service and award-winning selection of craft beers, consumable hemp, boutique wines, and allocated spirits. Happy's is located on University Avenue, Cedar Falls in the Blackhawk Village Shopping Center. Quick summary, Teddy Townsend with 2 goals for the Blackhawks. Chika Gadziev, who came in with a save percentage at almost 95, chased from the game less than 10 minutes in after allowing 3 on 4 shots. Puck's back in play in the offensive zone. The Hawks puck dropping it back to Bogus, left point. Rink wide Compton, right side. Gets around a shot blocker, fires, and Peck looked like he may have gotten just a piece of that one. It went into the corner at his right side. Bogus trying to get it back, dropping it towards Walker. It got away, and now Stewart feeds it out to center for Vayu, jumping into the rush. Drop pass for Stewart at the Blackhawk line. Moves in and shoots. Save by Casey. Rebound. Second save by Casey on Stefanik. And the Hawks counted the other way. Puck one-on-one. Backing down McLaughlin to the offensive end. Curls left wing boards waiting for some help. Now running out of time. Played it toward the side of the goal. Peck smothers it. And Kasiba was the next one there. So a good decision by Peck. Timeout on the ice. 11:47 to go. Second period. Blackhawks 4. Lumberjacks 1. We're back in 30 seconds on the Courtyard by Marriott, Blackhawks Network, and 1650 The Fan.
The Courtyard by Marriott in Waterloo is the place to fuel your passion when you visit the Cedar Valley. Built in the historic John Deere factory, the Courtyard by Marriott is a short walk away from Young Arena, the John Deere Tractor and Engine Museum, and more. Visit the official hotel of the Waterloo Black Hawks. The Courtyard by Marriott at 250 Westfield Avenue in Waterloo's vibrant downtown offers a state-of-the-art hotel experience while providing more flexibility and choices for their guests. Courtyard by Marriott, fueled by passion.
Well, the Waterloo Blackhawks have played a few more home games than most teams in this postseason, but Waterloo, with this crowd in attendance tonight, has drawn more total fans than any other team during the 2025 playoffs, and this is the biggest crowd yet for Waterloo, up into sellout territory for the Blackhawks. Just under 12 minutes to go in the second period. Waterloo leading Muskegon 4-1 with Johnny Lazarus. Glad to have you along for Blackhawks hockey.
Glad to be here. You weren't lying about the atmosphere. I can barely hear myself thinking here. It's my first time in Young Arena, and I gotta say, I think the fans exceeded expectations. The cowbells, they don't stop.
They do not.
Typical junior hockey stuff with the cowbells. They love the cowbells.
11:47 left in the second. Hawks win a draw. White Rabbit turning, right point in the offensive zone. Fell down but kept the play alive for Townsend. He comes across the high slot. Wrist shot. Save Peck. Rebound. Bouncing puck. And just out of the reach of Morick. Recovered by Galanic and fired off the glass by Klee. The Lumberjacks happy to take the icing call here.
I got to say, Tim, every time Teddy Townsend has the puck, I think something cool is about to happen. That shot, he didn't get enough on it. I'm sure he wanted to go against the grain again. That high glove shot that he beat Godzik on in the first period, wasn't able to beat Peck that time around. But number 44 in black, every time he has the puck, something happens. I'm at a loss for words.
Future Minnesota Gopher. Townsend playing some of his best hockey as a Blackhawks during these playoffs, and especially over the last few weeks. Quick chance, and a save made on Townsend there, and he's got another opportunity. Hat trick, Teddy Townsend! He got the first shot off the face-off win by Morick. The puck came back to him after the save by Peck, and he fired in the second opportunity. It's the second hat trick of the playoffs for Teddy Townsend, 2 of them in just over a week.
I don't want to say I was foreshadowing about 30 seconds ago, but you just felt it coming. Teddy Townsend with his 5th shot of this game already, gets his own rebound off the face-off win, stops in front of the net. That's the most important detail. He doesn't overskate the puck. He doesn't go for a loop in the corner. He stops right on it, grabs it, lets a quick release go, and he beats Stephen Peck. But this kid is unbelievable, and you hear the Teddy, Teddy, Teddy chants throughout Young Arena. What a performance number 44 in black is putting on here tonight.
So 2 hat tricks in this postseason for Teddy Townsend. He's got 2 of the 4 in the United States Hockey League during this playoff year. And a quick check, I think, will confirm that has never happened during the Blackhawks junior era. 2 hat tricks in the same postseason, and Townsend has accomplished it now. He's also the first Blackhawk since Jamie Hill in 2012 to have 9 goals in one playoff year.
And I gotta tell you, Tim, I don't think he's done. He might get 3 more. We're not even halfway through this game yet.
11:27 left in the second period. The time of the goal is 8:33. And Teddy Townsend with goals number 7, 8, and 9 of the playoffs in this game, including the only 2 that the Blackhawks have scored so far against Stephen Peck. It's 5-1 Waterloo.
Teddy Townsend is a problem. I'll tell you that much.
And someone went and got him the puck, and right they should have, because they had to take an extra moment here to get a new one.
What do they do with the hats?
You know, believe it or not, at Young Arena, they'll get them back to the fans.
They will. That's
Yep.
nice. I've always wondered that.
Doesn't happen in every building, but they'll do it here. As the puck's back in play, comes to Casey near the side of the Hawk net, banked it off the inboards for Brady, feeding it ahead, and Deering couldn't catch back up with it at center, but now McMorrow does have it. Goes rink wide and feeds Mulgrave, carrying in on left wing. Teddy Mulgrave stops along the half wall, puts one off the inboards. It ricochets to Ramos in the right corner, out to the line, shot by Brady, and it's right into the midsection of Peck, who holds on exactly 9 minutes into period 2. 5-1 Waterloo.
It's crazy because you watch both teams play in this period. If you're just tuning into this game, it does not look like a 5-1 game. Yet, the play does seem to be in Muskegon's D zone the entire time. But the Lumberjacks have really settled into their game, I feel like, in this middle frame. They're just not finding ways to create high-danger scoring chances. And it seems like the Waterloo Black Hawks are incredibly opportunistic on all the chances they're getting.
Yeah, the Blackhawks have been the highest scoring team in the USHL during the postseason. And looking like they're on the way toward hanging another big number as they get a face-off win and a quick shot by Hawkins that goes off the end glass. Christ back to the red line and sending one clockwise into the Hawks zone with Peddle trying to shovel it back up the wall. Couldn't get it out on his own. Christ banks it towards the corner. Finding some help there from Spitznagel. Now it slides behind the Hawk goal where it's picked up by Davatilla. Back for Peddle in the corner left of his net. Up the wall, Hawks clear it, and this could go for icing, although Hawkins is hustling, and icing here is washed out. McLaughlin keeping it away from Hawkins. It's cleared, intercepted at center by Dylan Compton for Waterloo. Banked it Hawkins' direction, it missed him, and slides back down to Peck, who picks this one up off the ice in his glove, taking a whistle with 10:21 left to go in period 2.
Finn McLaughlin just a second ago, did a great job at absorbing that hit in the forecheck because he didn't panic. McLaughlin and Muskegon, their defensemen so far tonight for the first half of this game, when they've gone back for pucks, they've looked like they've been panicking and throwing pucks away. I know McLaughlin's breakout pass eventually gets picked off, but it could have been picked off in their own zone. He at least had the control to absorb the hit, go around the net, and then get it out of the zone.
5-1 Blackhawks, game 1. And however this one ultimately turns out, there's still going to be at least 2 more as the Hawks win a draw. Shot by Compton is soaked up by Peck. And I think that might be an important point to make, is that however this one ends, if Muskegon does not mount a remarkable comeback, they've got 24 hours to circle the wagons and come back and have a fresh page to work with.
And you get to see video, you get to watch what the other team looks like. Sometimes when you're on the bench or on the ice, you have a hard time actually seeing the game and seeing what your opponent is doing because the game happens so fast. It's so much easier to see what it looks like from our angle because it's much slower up here than it is down there. I'll tell you that for free. But right now, it seems like the Muskegon Lumberjacks have no answer for the Waterloo Black Hawks forecheck.
Just shy of the mathematical midpoint of regulation, 10-17 to go second period. The Hawks with 5 consecutive goals after Muskegon had scored first. The Blackhawks during the postseason had a season high 7, or postseason high 7, in their early series clinching win against the Tri-City. And they also had a stretch in the second couple of games against the Sioux Falls Stampede and then game 1 against the Lincoln Stars where they scored 6 goals in 3 consecutive games. That's something that they didn't do at all at any point in the regular season.
Well, the offense is buzzing right now, and you're seeing a prime example of it. And honestly, it's been one guy tonight who's really led the way in Teddy Townsend, but all the way down to the 4th line of Sam Huck, Bradley Walker, and Nick Kasiba. Those 3, to me, really started the offense tonight. They had that one shift in the first period, about 4 or 5 minutes in, that really got the team going, especially, you know, when it was a 1-1 hockey game, because anything could have changed momentum at that point.
The Lumberjacks win a draw just outside their own blue line. It comes to Van Blaricom, who redirects it down behind the Hawk net. Casey keeps it moving clockwise, and Huck taps it back out to center. Lawrence circling, slinging a pass to Barry, flipped it across the Hawk line for Van Blaricom. He waved at the puck, ultimately hooked it behind the Hawk net, but it's recovered there by Huck with some help from Walker. And Huck springs a pass out towards center for Kasiba, trying to chase it down. Couldn't get around Barry. It goes for icing. 9:49 left in the second. 5-1 Waterloo.
Hard for Kasiba to beat the reach of 6'4" Bauer Berry from Grand Forks, North Dakota. Sound familiar?
It does, although the address may change at some point.
That's true, yeah.
Son of former North Dakota head coach Brad Berry.
He's taken a couple big hits in this game, but he's absorbed all of them. That first shift of the game, he took a big one behind the net. Was shaken up a little bit, but he was right back out there.
As the Hawks won to draw, they couldn't clear the puck, and it's Rabkin beating it up the boards. Compton intercepts. Then for Kasiba, he'll be able to get off for a change after redirecting the puck down deep into the right wing corner. The Hawks do swap lines after the earlier icing call. Meanwhile, Rabkin receives a pass at the Black Hawk line, shielding the puck and centering one now from the left wing boards, but it goes all the way across to the opposite wall. Deputy works back out toward the line, wings a feed ahead for Lawrence, trying to move into the high slot, bounces it back to McLaughlin left point. He's forced back to the line under some pressure from Ramos, and now McMorrow helping out too. And the Hawks able to get it free, and just back to the line, ruled onside. Rabkin skating at the top of the right circle, turns and spins one into the slot, but only McMorrow there. He brings it back up the ice for Ramos on right wing, banks it to himself, and now trying to get it back to McMorrow. The pass was behind him. McMorrow almost took it right away from Vayu. Instead, it's Klee to the Hawk zone. Across with a chance coming that's redirected wide to the Hawk net. The feed there by Rabkin. Klee gets it back, top of the right circle, then to the opposite ring, and a pass went off the skate of Toll, and Deering banks it out to center for Ramos. Didn't have any support, though, and the Lumberjacks turn it back towards the Hawk zone. Deputy, end of a shift, flips it into the Hawks zone, but Phelan retrieves, and after stepping behind his net, starts right of the goal for Brady. Then, just out of the reach of McMorrow, errant pass with the Lumberjacks taking it back. Hawks wanting a change. Nestrasil trying to avoid Deering. Lost the handle then as he ran into Ramos. Deering comes back up the ice. Leaned on heavily. Keeps the puck for a moment, but eventually Dexheimer did free it. And the Lumberjacks counter led by Stefanik to the Hawks end. Left wing circle shooting. It was blocked by Peddle. Stefanik gets his own rebound. That's Galanic, pardon me. Put it in front. Here's a chance, and Nestrasil scores. It's a 5-2 game, and we've got words exchanged in front of the benches there. But Vaslav Nestrasil has made it a 5-2 game.
A couple of UMass commits actually connecting for this goal for Muskegon. It starts in the D zone. Barrett Dexheimer makes a really strong play to break up a 3-on-3 rush for Muskegon. And then the Lumberjacks get an offensive zone possession the other way. Nestrasil makes a really strong play in front of the net. Instead of the deflection from the shot off the boards, he actually corrals it and tries to beat Carter Casey up high. Doesn't get all of it, but it's just enough to squeak through the glove and the midsection of Carter Casey, and that's a huge goal for Muskegon just to settle things down a little bit in this game because they've been running around a lot here in the first half. But 5-2, you're able to claw back from that deficit. 3 goals is not what it used to be in the sport of hockey. They say 2-goal leads are the worst league in hockey, but lately it's been 3, especially in the NHL. So we'll see what happens from this point on, but that's a huge turning point and a big goal from Vaslav Nestersil.
8:01 remaining, second period. And the restart controlled by the Lumberjacks with Barry back at his own blue line. For Clares in front of the benches on right wing. Wings one to the opposite corner, and Compton fires it off the glass back to the line. Ruled to be onside, but now Huck now nudges it out to center. Didn't find Kasiba. Barry turns for a dump in, and it rides the kick plate behind the Black Hawk net. Bogus pokes it to Compton. Then for Kasiba, chopping it out to center. Barry again collects it near the red line. And he turns Stewart loose across into the zone. Poke check by Bogus in the high slot. Van Blaricom had it. He couldn't do anything with it, though. Kasiba gives it back to Huck, who flipped it out to center. McLaughlin recovers and backhands it down towards the end wall.
And already you can see a shift in the confidence for the Muskegon Lumberjacks.
And this was building even before that Muskegon goal. They were turning the puck over back towards the blue line at least, if not more towards the center red line, and getting some zone time. Now Walker near takeaway. Didn't have anyone to help out, though, as he got it free behind the Lumberjack net. Ramos swipes an outlet pass, gets back across the line. The play is offside as Walker was trying to get to the bench on a change and could not quite make it back out to center as Ramos bought a little bit of time, but not quite enough.
It was close, but Bradley Walker was gassed at the end of his shift, got on the forecheck behind the net, and just couldn't get there in time. He was probably a half a second offside, which is unfortunate because Hunter Ramos made a great move. Granted, I'm sure the Muskegon defenseman, who I believe at that point was Xavier Bayou, stopped playing once he heard the whistle, right as the move was being made, but that would have been something pretty.
Well, Ramos doesn't take the puck away without Walker's effort before that, so you can give Bradley Walker a little bit of the benefit of the doubt for making the play that helped to create the turnover eventually. Puck back in play with Lance unable to bring it to the Black Hawk line and carry it in. He ends up dumping it behind the Hawk goal. Casey sweeps a pass to Brady, and the Hawks defenseman gives it up, a takeaway. The puck came in front, and Lance couldn't get a shot away. It's nudged up the boards by Townsend, not out, held in by Lawrence, but batted away on his attempt to feed Lance. He gets it back, comes off the wall, ran into Morgan Brady, who swipes it, and on his backhand, scoops it toward the line, Deputy gloving it down. He and Brady lean on each other, and it comes to Robkin for Lawrence. Poke checked in the right wing circle, and the Hawks start away. Chase Jete for Reed Morick. Flipped it across the Muskegon line, and it comes back to him now shooting. Peck blockers it away into the corner at his right. Just over 6 minutes to go in the second period. 5-2 Blackhawks. Lance for Muskegon behind his net, taking his time and now moving left to the goal. Feather to pass ahead to Christ. Weaving through neutral ice and across the Hawk line. Banks it off the right boards. It's picked up by Petal and fired off the glass the other way. And the Lumberjacks close to too many men, but nobody touched the puck as it was bouncing in front of their bench. Now Stefanik for Muskegon. Backhands one to the right corner. Petal to it first. Ridden into the wall by Stefanik. Puck squirts around the wall to Toa left boards. Put it wide of the Black Hawk net. Hawkins chasing for Waterloo. Looks around. Takes a check, but got it out to center. And Davatilla trying to get it back, could not take it away. Spitznagel reversed it. And Petal has to begin again with 5.5 left in the second period. Hawks by 3. Phelan rimming a pass to Petal. Lots of room right of his goal. Tape to tape for Hawkins. Crossing the line, leaves the puck for Mason. Back to Hawkins' right circle. Broken up, and now the Lumberjacks with numbers. Led up ice by Galanic with a chance. It was blocked by Phelan. He got it back and centered it, and it's batted wide of the Black Hawk net. Hawkins retrieves. Flipped it out to center, but too far for Mason. Barry from Muskegon turns at his own blue line for Klee. Had goals in both games between these teams in the regular season. Trying to feed Galanic, knifed away, and now Deering hurries it back up the ice, maybe a 3-on-2. Deering on right wing, gains the line, moves in, centers one. Ramos, stick handles, lost the puck, got it back, turns and shoots. He put it into the goal, which is knocked off of its moorings as Barry went sliding into Peck with 4:46 left to go in the second period.
What a feed by Grady Naring, and Ramos was hooked on his way to the net. I'm surprised there was no call because he looked like he was about to corral that puck on his forehand and tuck it in the backhand, but there was back pressure certainly that got into the hands of Ramos, which didn't allow him to get that shot off. I'm surprised there's no hooking call being made here, unless the refs are discussing that right now, or if it was the shot after the whistle. Ramos might have himself in the box.
Well, he was facing away from the net, though. He didn't know the
No.
net was off of its moorings when he turned and shot.
I thought he shot it before the whistle went off, too.
I didn't hear a whistle.
Yeah, oh, you didn't.
So
It's loud. It's loud.
And that's true.
Yeah, it's loud. But it looks like they're discussing right now maybe an unsportsmanlike potential penalty. I could have sworn Ramos shot it after the whistle, though.
4:46 left in the second. And they talk about it. They determined no goal is what it looks like the conversation was.
That makes more
assessing.
sense.
They did not go to the tablet. There was a discussion, though, between Grant Hendrick and William Frazier. The faceoff's going to be moved out to the neutral zone. And from that, I would guess that the officials, well, now they'll move it back into the Muskegon net. I was going to say, it was Barry, I believe, who went into Peck and took the net off of its moorings. And based on the position of the draw, I would have said he must have had some help, but now they've reversed that and put it back beside the Muskegon goal.
And Ramos did get a shot off. Granted, there wasn't much on it, but you saw the backhand shovel that Peck was able to stop and then kind of jammed into his pad. But like you said, it was Barry that pushed him into Peck. So great call here by the officials to keep it in the zone.
Hawks win the faceoff. Just under 5 minutes left in the second. Ramos works the right wing corner and comes off the boards, trying to slip it to the slot. It's taken away and brought out to center by Lawrence. He gains the Blackhawk blue line on right wing. Steps toward the corner and moves behind the net on his backhand. Harassed by Brady. Kept the puck away. Brady lost his stick. And now it's behind the Hawk net with Rabkin collecting it. The centering one. Lawrence, a quick chance and a good save. The rebound picked up by Brady. And the Hawks move it out. Brady unchallenged all the way to the red line. Gives it to Ramos. He'll play it into the left wing corner. It rides the rail around and comes to Deering. Bottling it up on the right wing boards. Lost control of it. And the Lumberjacks do get it back out to center. Redirected to the Blackhawk line. Phelan picks it up for Waterloo. 4 minutes left in the second period. Each team with a goal in the second. The Blackhawks lead is 3, where it was at the start of the period as a pass is deflected towards the front of the Muskegon net by Deering near the blue line. It's covered by Peck, and he's not been shy about covering the puck up.
Definitely not. He wants as many draws he can get for his team to rest up, relax, and have a mental reset. That's what Muskegon has needed a lot in this game. Just taking a deep breath. The atmosphere is a little bit intimidating here if you are the road team. But I got to say again, Brady Peddle is having a heck of a night. He just threw a huge hit right by the Muskegon bench on David Deputy, who's been, in my opinion, the best forward for Muskegon all night tonight, creating chances. But Peddle, the way he closes down plays, his gaps are amazing. He makes a great first pass. He does it all, number 10 in black.
3:53 left in the second. Blackhawks 5, Lumberjacks 2. And to drop the blocker side of Stephen Peck. Won cleanly by Walker. Here's a blast by Bogus. It was blocked. Loose puck. Huck kept it in, winging it into the left wing corner. Bauer Berry, though, uses the woodwork to bank it back to Van Blaricom at center. And he'll send one to the Hawk line. Didn't quite find Gherkin, who was in full stride. Compton, though, has to retrieve it. Got it to Bogus, who's checked, but clears it. As he was absorbing that hit, it goes for icing. Waterloo Blackhawks playoff hockey brought to you in part by Chick-fil-A in Waterloo. Chick-fil-A serving good food and great futures. This year alone, 22 Chick-fil-A Waterloo team members received scholarships to fully pay for their college education. Every team member has the opportunity to attend college for free while working at Chick-fil-A Waterloo, serving our community and investing in the next generation of leaders. 3:31 left in the second. Hawks 5, Lumberjacks 2. And this draw is controlled by the Hawks. Compton golfing one that hit a leg, did get out to center. Did not find Huck, though, as Lance was able to juggle it. Now comes back his direction, and he flips it to the Hawk line where Compton will begin again as he turns back into his own zone, uses the kick plate to feed Huck, and he tips it across into Muskegon ice. The Lumberjacks Christ. Headman pass tipped into the Blackhawks owned by Toll. Casey comes out of the net as the Lumberjacks were starting a change. Casey flips it to Mason, who chops it off the boards back to center. Another dump in by Muskegon. It's in the corner at Casey's left-hand side. Compton moves it behind the net, and Mason lost the handle. As Stefanik fed it behind the net, and it's Spitznagel dropping it back to McLaughlin, right point just inside the line. Long shot, he scores. Lots of traffic, and Carter Casey never saw it. It got inside the post at his right, and Muskegon suddenly back to within 2 at 17-14 of the second period.
Finn McLaughlin is fired up as he goes down the line of the Muskegon Lumberjacks bench, but great lateral movement on the blue line, gets the puck, immediately gets his feet moving, doing a little 10 and 2 to get to the middle of the ice, knowing that he had a couple layers of screens blocking the vision of Carter Casey, and it's not the hardest shot. He just throws it at the net looking for a tip, looking for an opening, and Casey wasn't able to track it, and it beats him up high to the blocker side. That's a huge goal for Muskegon. We got a hockey game here.
2:46 left in the second, now 5-3. As the Blackhawks win a face-off, Peddle got the puck to Phelan, and the Hawks chop it down deep into the Lumberjacks zone. Bayou avoiding Morick, and the Lumberjacks led out to center by Nestrasil, who scored the second Muskegon goal. Lost the puck shy of the Hawk line, though, and it's Phelan for Waterloo. Given room, so he'll carry the puck back as far as the center red line and wing it down into the left wing corner. It bounces, Morick chasing, he and Bayou after it, and Bayou wins possession, going behind his net, hooking a pass across the ice to Nestrasil, still inside of his blue line. Nestrasil hit as it came to center, and the Hawks got it but couldn't get it deep. Instead, it's Klee back to the Blackhawks zone, shooting. That one went up high and hit the end glass, springing back toward the line. Now Peddle working to feed Jete, and the Hawks do get it out to neutral territory. McLaughlin flips it back deep, under 2 minutes left in the second period. Phelan for Waterloo, banks a pass to Peddle, and for Ramos turning. Tape to tape for Deering. Brings it up left wing and into the offensive zone. Deering avoided McLaughlin, lost the puck though to Barry instead. Then back to McLaughlin. Skipped it out to center, right to Lawrence, who kicked to his stick on his outstep. Brings it to the side of the Hawk net, then behind, and moves into the right circle for a shot. Casey the save. Rebound flip to the line. Lawrence kept it in. Another chance, another save by Casey. Rabkin knocked it down, trying to shovel it in. He knocks Casey backwards, and play is stopped. No goal, the indication. 1:24 left in the second period. 5-3 Waterloo.
The ice is tilted, huh? I thought Tynan Lawrence had a chance to tuck that puck in on the wraparound. He didn't choose to shoot it initially, went a little bit away from the net, got the shot off. Then Muskegon able to pounce off of a D-zone turnover by Waterloo, which they've had a lot of here in the last 10 minutes of this period. Waterloo was making great breakout passes for most of this game, but ever since Nestrasil scored that goal, you've sensed a little bit of panic in the Waterloo Black Hawks game. And on that specific play, it was Rabkin who was able to jam the puck in from the goal line, and he got shoved from behind. And the puck might have gone in when he was pushed into Carter Casey. Hard from our angle to see, but the officials looked, they had a good look at it.
Call on the ice was no goal, and I believe it was Grant Hendrick who was the referee, who was right behind the net in really a good position to see. Although the officials do huddle up to talk about it. While we've got a moment, we'll let you know that Waterloo Blackhawk Playoff Hockey is brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink and easy to enjoy. That's what Bud Light and its simple, iconic 4-ingredient recipe has always stood for. With every moment and every beer, Bud Light strives to make life easier to enjoy. Bud Light, raise one to right now. Please drink responsibly. There will be a review on the play as Grant Hendrick and William Frazier will step in with the off-ice officials and have a look. So let's give a quick rundown of what we've seen so far. The Muskegon Lumberjacks got a goal 1 minute and 29 seconds in from Finn McLaughlin to open the scoring, but only led for 9 seconds before Ty Mason tied it up with the first of 4 goals in the opening period for the Blackhawks. Teddy Townsend followed up near the midpoint of the period, and Sam Huck got another 22 seconds after Townsend's first. Townsend finished the first period scoring at 16:43. Then at 8:33 of period number 2, he completed his hat trick. But since then, Muskegon with a pair of goals to draw back to within 2. So it was as large as a 4-goal lead for the Blackhawks, but now sliced down to 2 with 1:24 left before the second intermission.
And the shots in this period, Tim, are 13-11 in favor of Waterloo. But it feels like it's been all Muskegon here in the last 7 minutes or so. This game has really taken a turn, and this is a pivotal moment in this game, because if this is called a good goal, where you were Muskegon about 15 minutes ago feeling really bad about yourselves, you're going into that locker room in the second intermission feeling pretty good about the position you're in. So Waterloo better be hoping on their bench right now that this goal will not stand. Although there has to be conclusive evidence, obviously, because the initial call was no goal.
Yep, again, the call on the ice was pretty definitively no goal. 11:24 left to play in period number 2. Waterloo Blackhawks Playoff Hockey is brought to you in part by Bill Caldwell Ford. Trust is earned, and for more than 40 years, Bill Caldwell Ford has done that. Earned trust. Now they're giving back employee pricing for everyone with eligible 2024 and 2025 models. Bill Caldwell Ford, clearly a better place, and we do have a good goal for the Muskegon Lumberjacks.
The goal will probably be credited to Ivan Rapkin, who got it on the goal line after it was kept in at the blue line, and he just went to jam it through the 5-hole of Carter Casey, and it looked like it snuck under the pad of Casey as Rapkin was pushed in, and because he was pushed in, there's nothing he could really do to avoid making contact with Carter Casey as we wait for a replay maybe on the main board. Not sure if we'll get one, but that's my assumption of what happened. And just like that, this game goes from 5-1 to 5-4, and this is absolute chaos here in Young Arena.
Well, Matt Smaby is getting the details and giving his opinion too, which you would expect is going to be a little different than what the officials have decided after taking a look at the video. 1:24 left to play in the second period, and the Lumberjacks with 3 goals since the clock showed 8:01 left in period 2.
I'd love to see the angle the officials saw where there was conclusive evidence that that puck went in. From our angle, it was very tough to see, obviously, but clearly it was definitive.
Unofficially, we'll say that's Ivan Rabkin's goal. He was the Lumberjack who was closest to the play and had created at least the initial shot that Casey stopped before being knocked backwards into the net. 1:24 left to play in the second period. 5-4 the score. Face off at the center dot, pulled back by Lawrence for Vayu. Better to head looking for Rapkin. It went off of his skate, and the Hawks, Phelan took it away, lifted it the other direction. Now it's Morick gloving it down as it ricochets his way. The Black Hawk captain to the offensive zone, bounces one wide of the Muskegon net, got it back, trying to drop it out toward the line, and Rapkin intercepted it, but checked by Townsend, and the Black Hawks stalled the Muskegon rush before it could really even begin. Under a minute left to go in the second period. Townsend now, couldn't get it deep. Vayu trying to reverse it, and in front of the benches, it's popped up into the air and goes into the Black Hawk bench with 50 and 4/10 seconds left to go in period 2.
You can sense the nervous energy now in this building where there was absolutely none of that through the first 35 minutes of this game. But credit to the Muskegon Lumberjacks. It is very difficult to play in this environment, not only to claw your way out of a 4-goal hole, but to even play in a 1-goal game. So the response from Muskegon, incredibly impressive. And I believe it all starts with Stephen Peck in goal. You know, he came in and really settled things down. He's made a lot of big saves despite allowing 2 goals so far.
Might be the last shift of the second period. Hawks who win a drop at Nestersill. Tied up Mulgrave's stick on the Black Hawk side of the red line. Knocked the puck down into the Waterloo zone. Mulgrave gets it back with some help from Brady, and now it's Ramos getting it to McMorrow on left wing. Collided with Vayu, but Deering trying to carry on into the left wing corner. Knocked down to a knee by McLaughlin. McMorrow comes over to help. Klee jostles him in the corner on left wing. Clock rolling down to 25 seconds left in the period. McMorrow upended, and now cross-checked by Klee. That will draw the ire of the fans right there. Deering eventually comes out of the scrum with it. Drops it back to Mulgrave, left point. Shooting, tip, saved by Peck on McMorrow at the top of the crease. As Galanick checked by Deering. McMorrow picks the puck back up, running out of time in the right corner. Centered one, but Vayu, the only one there, took it away and banks it off the wall out to neutral ice as the period comes to an end. It was a 3-goal Black Hawk lead at the start of period 2. It's a 1-goal lead after 40 minutes. Waterloo 5, Muskegon 4. We'll take a timeout and come back to tell you how we've gotten to this point. Back in just a couple of minutes with our intermission update on the Courtyard by Marriott, Black Hawks Network, and 1650 The Fan.
2.5 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you, Grandma. Joining the Army has many benefits. Celebrating your college degree without the burden of debt is just one of them.
The Army paid for it?
Yes, Unc.
Visit the Waterloo Army Recruiting Station at 2060 Crossroads Boulevard or call
A lot easier to use a microphone than to text how long each break is, by the way.
Sorry, say it again.
This is Black Hawks.
So did Brad explain to you how we had to do these timeouts or intermissions or anything like that?
No.
It was all over text. It was very, it worked, but it was a little chalked.
Yeah, not ideal. Okay.
Find all the details at CairnsPrintRight.com.
Yep, but it worked, so it worked.
Falls Avenue in Waterloo and open online around the clock at CairnsPrintRight.com.
If you've got the right tools and the friendly people at U.S. Bank in your corner, making smarter money choices is a piece of cake. If only our tools and helpful advisors could have helped you avoid some of those not so smart choices in life. Like that time you tried to pick up unicycling. Or when you thought it'd be okay to pet that squirrel in the park.
Good squirrel.
While we can't help you with all that, we can help you bank smartly at usbank.com/smartertogether. Member FDIC.
Shop, donate, or volunteer to help Habitat for Humanity at the Restore in Waterloo. Whether you purchase or donate furniture, building materials, or appliances, you make it possible for families in Northeast Iowa to achieve home ownership in decent, affordable housing. Visit the Restore at 4107 Hammond Avenue in Waterloo, or check them out at webuildhabitat.org/restore. Help Habitat do more. Shop the Restore in Waterloo.
Pit Pop Popcorn. It's a poppin' in Iowa. But many people don't have world-class popcorn growing in their neighborhood. Pit Pop is grown better right next door in Cedar Falls. Never fear, you can ship Pit Pop popcorn anywhere in the United States. Think of those people who don't have Pit Pop popcorn at their local grocery store. Send them a Midwestern care package from pit-pop.com. That's pit-pop.com. Pit Pop Popcorn. It's a poppin' in Iowa.
The Waterloo Black Hawks play here. 1650 The Fan.
The Waterloo Black Hawks have the lead, but by the slimmest of margins. It's Waterloo 5, Muskegon 4. At the second intermission, we owe you a station ID. You're listening to 1650 The Fan, KCNZ, Cedar Falls, Waterloo, broadcasting on K272GA at FM 102.3, a Koloff media station. And lots to talk about as we dive into our scoring summary at this second intermission, presented as always by Ted's Home and Hardware. A quick rundown of the opening period. Muskegon got the game's first goal at 1:29. A shot by Finn McLaughlin, set up from behind the Black Hawk net by Jack Christ. Also an assist to Jack Kalanick. And it was 1-0 Muskegon for 9 seconds before the Hawks tied it up on a Ty Mason goal at 1:38. Shooting from the right circle after the Hawks had won a faceoff and got it right back up the ice. Mason beating Shika Gadziev, who started the game but did not last long. The Hawks would get 2 more against him before the period was 10 minutes old. 9:04 when Teddy Townsend got his first of the game. Skating left and shooting back to his right on a setup by Reed Morick and Michael Phelan. By the way, the assists on the Mason goal were to Dylan Compton and Nick Bogus. And after the Hawks went ahead on a goal by Townsend, they were up by 2. 22 seconds later at 9:26 when Sam Huck scored with some help from Nick Kasiba to get him the puck. Huck's first of the playoffs from Kasiba and Bogus. And Waterloo would get one more before the period was over against Stephen Peck, who had come into the game in relief. Townsend's second, as he was able to receive a feed from Reed Morick, cut across the slot and slip in a low chance past Peck. 8th of the playoffs, and Morick the lone assist at 16:43. So then into the second period, that 4-1 score held for some time until the Blackhawks added to the lead. 8 minutes 33 seconds in as Teddy Townsend completed his hat trick.
Teddy Townsend was unbelievable in that second period, and you kind of just felt it every time he touched the puck. For his hat-trick goal, he gets his own rebound off a clean face-off win by the captain. And Chase Jette, won the draw. I have to correct myself there.
I thought it was Reed Morick winning the face-off, too.
They looks like they corrected it on the score sheet here on the site. But Teddy Townsend really had full control of this game offensively for Waterloo. Then all of a sudden, almost out of nowhere, it was the Muskegon Lumberjacks who tilted the ice back in their favor. We thought that Waterloo was going to run away with this thing, and you got to credit Stephen Peck in goal for Muskegon, who kept making save after save after save to keep the score at least at 5-1, when I felt it could have been 7-8, even 9-1 at one point in this game. And then Vaslav Nestrasil gets the big goal right at the net mouth. He corrals a shot from the boards. Rather than trying to deflect it, he actually holds on to it for an extra second and beats Carter Casey to the glove side, and right from there, the Lumberjacks started rolling and got themselves back into this game.
That was an 11:59. Nestrasil assisted by Jack Galanick and David Klee. And then late in the period, two more. The first of those two at 17-14. Second of the night for Finn McLaughlin.
Finn McLaughlin did a great job at getting the puck on his backhand and actually moving laterally across the blue line, getting to the middle of the ice, moving his feet, and using a couple layers of screens at the net front where Carter Casey could not track that puck all the way to the point. McLaughlin doesn't necessarily put a lot of firepower behind that shot, but it was perfectly accurate to the high blocker side, and everyone in Waterloo, in this arena, and on the bench seemed surprised that that went in. But it's just a seeing eye shot from the point that made it a 2-goal game.
The Lumberjacks got one more, and it was a controversial goal. What did you see when you got the chance to take a closer look at the goal by Ivan Rabkin, which was credited after a video review?
So Rabkin got the puck on the goal line and tried to jam it through the 5-hole of Carter Casey, and then Teddy Mulgrave came into the picture and actually shoved Rabkin in the back, which then allowed the force of Rabkin to barrel through Casey, and because Rabkin was pushed in, his momentum obviously takes Casey with him into the net, and the puck was clearly under Casey's pad, but the entire pad was behind the goal line. To me, it's not conclusive evidence, but if the entire pad is behind the goal line and the puck is underneath the pad, it's safe to assume that that puck was fully across the line. So that's what the officials must have seen. We got a great overhead look at it. From our perspective, it was a questionable one, but the officials certainly saw that overhead look and felt confident enough to call it a goal. And now we got a 1-goal hockey game going into the final 20 minutes. And what an exciting final 20 it's going to be if it's anything like the first 40.
Rabkin assisted by Tynan Lawrence at 18:36 of the second, making it 5-4 where we stand now. No penalties called in that second period, just one power play each way in the game. That was power play situation in the first, some overlapping 4-on-4 time after the Lumberjacks had the first advantage. The Hawks with a power play that was not a full 2 minutes of power play time. 14 shots on goal for Waterloo in period number 2. Muskegon had a dozen, and the two-period totals are 27 for Waterloo to 22 for Muskegon. That's our scoring summary at this second intermission presented by Ted Soman Hardware. Spray away the mildew, mold, moss, or algae left over from a long winter and a wet spring. Wet and Forget Stain Remover does it all. Pick up a gallon of Wet and Forget this month for $26.99 from Ted Soman Hardware in Evansdale, where you can get help with your project. Stop in to see Ted and his staff there to help at 3550 Lafayette Road in Evansdale. We'll break and come back with more. Second intermission, Blackhawks 5, Lumberjacks 4 on the Courtyard by Marriott, Blackhawks Network, and 1650 The Fan.
At Green Acre Storage, we can take
2.5 minutes.
This is storage therapists. We provide clean, safe, secure, climate-controlled storage units in a complete range of sizes. Feel free to unload on us in our enclosed and heated loading area, and ask about our Penske truck rentals and packing supplies. And feel better fast, knowing the storage pros at Green Acre specialize in not judging. We'll keep your stuff and your secrets. Green Acres, because life is hard. Storage.
Right now, someone is having fun at Maple Lanes in Cadillac Extreme Bowling Center. Sure, there's fun for bowlers, but there's also gamers, party animals, and anyone who loves good food. If you haven't been to Maple Lanes in Cadillac XBC lately, you don't know how much fun you're missing. Then there's Kingpin Social, open with a full menu for lunch and dinner every day. MapleLanesWaterloo.com, 2608 University Avenue. CadillacXBC.com, 650 LaPorte Road. Have some fun tonight.
Save more with Veridian Credit Union for top shelf savings with lower fees and better rates on accounts, loans, and credit cards. At Veridian, you'll earn more on savings and checking accounts and pay less when you buy or refinance a home or vehicle. That's how our members come out millions of dollars ahead each year, giving you more. That's the value of Veridian. Go to VeridianCU.org to see how you can save. Equal housing opportunity insured by NCUA.
Solutions, solving problems, that's what we do. Solutions, 239-2772.
As the weather warms up, this is the time to call Bugsy's Pest Solutions. Ants, centipedes, beetles, and other crawly critters will be waking up. Stop them while they're still outside. Schedule exterior service for your home. Call Bugsy's at 239-2772 or make an appointment online at Bugsy'sPestSolutions.com.
The Courtyard by Marriott in Waterloo is the place to fuel your passion when you visit the Cedar Valley. Built in the historic John Deere factory, the Courtyard by Marriott is a short walk away from Young Arena, the John Deere Tractor and Engine Museum, and more. Visit the official hotel of the Waterloo Black Hawks. The Courtyard by Marriott at 250 Westfield Avenue in Waterloo's vibrant downtown offers a state-of-the-art hotel experience while providing more flexibility and choices for their guests. Courtyard by Marriott, fueled by passion.
On air and online, listen to Blackhawks hockey at 1650thefan.com. 1650 The Fan.
Waterloo 5, Muskegon 4, third period coming up. We've got Daily Faceoff host Johnny Lazarus with us for this weekend's coverage of Blackhawks hockey, games 1 and 2 of the Clark Cup final. And with just a couple of minutes left to go before the third period begins, early in the second, we talked about what the Lumberjacks might have discussed in the locker room at the first intermission. Sort of a role reversal now for the Blackhawks at the second intermission.
I still don't think Muskegon was as physical as they'd like to be, but what they started doing was getting a little bit more on the attack offensively, and they actually were forcing more turnovers for the Waterloo defensemen. In the first period, Waterloo was very comfortable in their own end, breaking the puck out. But for some reason, in that final 10 minutes of the second period, really after that Vaslav Nestrasil goal, the panic and the pressure started to sink in for Waterloo. And that's so weird about hockey sometimes, where you feel like you're in full control of the game and you have a 3-goal lead, but mentally it's only human nature in the back of your mind to have, that panic that it could slip away, creep in. So Muskegon just started to pounce on the D-zone turnovers that Waterloo was making, and all of a sudden we have a 1-goal game.
Waterloo Blackhawks playoff hockey brought to you in part by Mediacom Extreme, powered by Mediacom Internet with speeds up to 1 gig and unlimited usage. Learn more at MediacomCable.com. We'll take a timeout and come back with the third period. We'll get the final 20 minutes of regulation underway after this break on the Courtyard by Marriott Blackhawks Network and 1650 The Fan.
2 minutes.
Served your country and graduated with honors? I'm proud of you.
Aw, thank you, Grandma. Joining the Army has many benefits. Celebrating your college degree without the burden of debt is just one of them.
The Army paid for it?
Yes,
This is the Waterloo Army Recruiting Station at 2060 Crossroads Boulevard, or call 319-300-3178.
Whatever your project and wherever you are, Terrence Printwright can handle all your printing needs under one roof. This is Blackhawks Coach Matt Payne. From design to delivery, Terrence Printwright does it all. Forms or business cards for your office, invitations or envelopes for special events, yard signs, rubber stamps, screen printing, and so much more. Find all the details at TerrencePrintWright.com, where you can also request a quote right from home. Terrence Printwright on Falls Avenue in Waterloo, and open online around the clock at TerrencePrintWright.com.
If you've got the right tools and the friendly people at U.S. Bank in your corner, making smarter money choices is a piece of cake. If only our tools and helpful advisors could have helped you avoid some of those not-so-smart choices in life. Like that time you tried to pick up unicycling.
Oh, coming through.
Yeah. Or when you thought it'd be okay to pet that squirrel in the park.
Good squirrel. Good squirrel. Shush.
While we can't help you with all that, we can help you bank smartly at usbank.com/smartertogether. Member FDIC.
Shop, donate, or volunteer to help Habitat for Humanity at the Restore in Waterloo. Whether you purchase or donate furniture, building materials, or appliances, you make it possible for families in Northeast Iowa to achieve home ownership in decent, affordable housing. Visit the Restore at 4107 Hammond Avenue in Waterloo, or check them out at webuildhabitat.org/restore. Help Habitat do more. Shop the Restore in Waterloo.
When it's hockey time in Party Town, the Blackhawks are on. 1650 The Fan.
The Waterloo Blackhawks with a 5-4 lead on the Muskegon Lumberjacks going to the third period, but it was a 5-1 lead at one point before the Lumberjacks stacked up 3 in a row. Waterloo Blackhawk playoff hockey is brought to you in part by Seamless Exterior, the Cedar Valley's trusted team for roofing, siding, and windows. Just like the Blackhawks, they know how to handle tough conditions. Good luck in the playoffs from Seamless Exterior. And by iSmile. Ready to smile with confidence? From custom braces to Invisalign, iSmile Orthodontics in Cedar Falls is committed to helping you achieve your dream smile that will last a lifetime. Schedule your free exam today at ismileforever.com. Blackhawks coming back out to the playing surface from the locker room after the second intermission. We've got a moment. Let's tell you about the other games of interest that are going on tonight on the ice and elsewhere. NHL playoff hockey, the Florida Panthers have a 4-3 lead on the Toronto Maple Leafs in the mid-third period of Game 3 in that series. Toronto won the first two. And still a few minutes away from puck drop between the Dallas Stars and Winnipeg Jets. That game will begin in minutes, and the Jets trying to even up the series after Dallas took Game 1. Chicago Cubs baseball over on Cruisin' KCFI. The New York Mets still lead the Cubs in the New York Burrows, 6-1. The Mets on top in the 8th inning. Meanwhile, the Chicago White Sox lead the Miami Marlins 4-2 in the 7th. 8th inning in Tampa, the Milwaukee Brewers and the Rays are tied up at 3. Other games on the regional scoreboard. No score in the 8th between the Kansas City Royals and Boston Red Sox. The Minnesota Twins have a 3-0 lead on the San Francisco Giants at the end of 6. And the St. Louis Cardinals blanked the Washington Nationals. It's a final 10-0. St. Louis won that one. A hat trick in this game for the Blackhawks, Teddy Townsend, but 2 goals for Muskegon's Finn McLaughlin. And this one is very much up in the air with 20 minutes left to play. Johnny Lazarus, host of the Daily Faceoff, is with us for commentary on this Friday night. He'll be back tomorrow for Game 2 as we are underway now in the 3rd. As the puck's brought to the Hawks line by David Deputy, stopping right wing boards, lifts the puck towards the end wall, and McMorrow got a piece of it. The Lumberjacks still got it out in front, but nothing that Lawrence could do with it. It's near the top of the crease as it's picked up now by McMorrow right of his goal and brought out to center. McMorrow avoids the stick check, steers a puck down to the end boards behind the Muskegon net. Almost got it away from Veyu, but could not get control of it. And now Rabkin out as far as the red line. His errant pass is intercepted by Ramos, who circles back into his own zone, flicks a pass off the end wall to Phelan. Then to Petal. And now in short order, Ramos stopping shy of the Lumberjack line and dumping it in clockwise. Jete fresh off of a change, drops it back. Morick moves into the right wing corner. The Blackhawk captain lost his balance, but the puck stays there. And now Jete has it back for Waterloo. Working back out toward the line. He spins and shoots, but it came off of his stick awkwardly. And the Lumberjacks clear it. Hawks get it back and bank it into the offensive zone again, but Clares kept it just out of reach of Morick. Now the Hawks have it one more time, and here's Teddy Townsend, already a big night. Flips one in front. Here's Morick, stop attempt. He scores! What a goal on the backhand by the Hawk captain, Reed Morick. Here come the Hawks with just what they needed early in the 3rd period. Back up by 2 as Morick has a brilliant finish between the pads of Stephen Peck.
The quick transition by the Waterloo Blackhawks. They create a turnover in the neutral zone, and then on the attack they go. It was Teddy Townsend again making things happen with a silky saucer pass to a streaking Reed Morick, who has the patience to go forehand, backhand, slip the 5-hole through Stephen Peck. What a beautiful goal. These two keep connecting for gorgeous goal after gorgeous goal. And it's great to see the Waterloo Blackhawks on the attack, not sitting back and protecting a 1-goal lead.
So Townsend now with 4 points as he gets an assist on that goal by Morick, his 4th of the playoffs. And at least 3 of them scored on that end of the ice. Here at Young Arena, he had 2 in the game against the Sioux Falls Stampede that clinched that series for Waterloo, both in the 3rd period during a Blackhawk comeback. And this is a key 3rd period goal for Morick and the Hawks. With the puck back in play and deep in the Lumberjack zone, they get control of it. Barry looking up the ice, put it up the rink for Stefanik across the Hawk line, dragging and shooting. Casey makes the glove save on the low chance towards his left, holding on with 18:08 left to go in the 3rd.
Good for Carter Casey to feel the puck again too, because his confidence could have been low after that 2nd period, allowing 3 goals. But early in the 3rd, you want to feel the puck, you want to see the puck. Waterloo doing a good job at tracking back, not allowing an odd man rush. That's an easy routine save for him. And you just never know what's going to happen in this game. This is wild back and forth action. If you told me it was going to be 6-4 with 18 minutes to go, I wouldn't have known how we got here. And honestly, I still can't believe how we got here. This game has been wildly entertaining.
Well, these are two high-scoring teams as they've shown throughout the postseason. And I think back to that game between the teams on April the 6th, which was not this high-scoring, but it was a game where the Hawks had a little bit more room for error, it felt like. And then all of a sudden in the third period, it did get close. And here's a face-off win, a quick shot by Lawrence that didn't get through. And the Hawks get control with Ramos flicking it ahead, and now Deering trying to chase it down. He wins the race and saves icing, but then can't get the puck cleanly away from Lance. He's tied up. Lawrence trying to dig it out and did get it to Toll. He gives it back to Lance, and Lance wings one out to center. Pass is broken up, and it's deflected up and out of play. Nice catch behind us by Blackhawks strength coach Spencer Popinga. That's the highlight of the night for Spencer as he grabbed that one that just went sailing over our heads.
I went for it. I completely missed. That was pretty scary, I'm not going to lie. It was like, is it coming for us or is it not? And then all of a sudden, it was right at our head level. That was wild.
Just over 2 minutes into the third. Waterloo 6, Muskegon 4. Face-off at center controlled by the Lumberjacks and then taken back by Deering, who dumped it in and collided with Rabkin just outside the line. They get together again inside the Lumberjack zone, and the puck controlled by Muskegon. Brought back out towards neutral territory by Lance, and all the way to the Blackhawk line before he rims it behind the Hawk net. Deering looking over his shoulder. Lawrence got around him and pushes it back the other way. Out to 50-50 puck with Petal and Deputy tangling, and the puck reversed one more time. This time Lawrence has a little more room to work with as he steers it below the icing lane. Phelan the takeaway, clockwise looking for Petal, then to Ramos, who receives it and brings it up left wing. Rest of the line's tired, but Ramos going to bring it into the offensive zone. Curls, and he had help coming, but didn't see Kasiba there. Kasiba chasing to the left wing corner, got it back, looking to feed Walker, back for Kasiba and Wall. Wraps up, and the Lumberjacks have three players along the end boards. It pops up in the air. Kasiba gets it back for Waterloo. Trying to feed Huck. It went off a skate and out to center. And the Lumberjacks need a change. Compton wants to hurry it up the ice. Broken up by Sanderson, who takes it away, moves it and fires. Casey, a bailout save with his blocker. And the puck goes up out of play with 16:31 left to play in the third.
A big-time save by Carter Casey, because Carter on Carter action, was in a prime-time scoring opportunity. A lucky bounce goes right into the glove of Sanderson. He's on his off wing, so he has the angle there to go high to the blocker side against the grain. And luckily for Carter Casey, I think it does hit the shaft of his stick, so he did get a little bit of help there. But the back and forth action just keeps going on here in Young Arena. This is so much fun. I'm having a blast right now, even though I think I might have torn my rotator cuff trying to catch that puck before.
6-4. What are your thoughts on 6 goals being enough tonight?
I don't know if that's going to do it. They might need 8.
Hawks win a faceoff, but they're going to be whistled for icing as Brady sent it down the rink. Waterloo Black Hawk Playoff Hockey brought to you in part by DeBin Store. At DeBin Store, every trip is a treasure hunt. Find electronics, kitchen appliances, cosmetics, clothes, shoes, tools, and so much more. And save up to 90% with new inventory every week. It's the most fun you've ever had while saving money. Items at DeBin Store start at $8 and drop every day of the week. 3.5 minutes gone, third period. The Hawks have given themselves some breathing room. They led by as many as 4. It was down to 1. Now it's a 2-goal Blackhawk lead, 6-4. Off the face-off following the icing call, Mulgrave golfs it through the neutral zone. It's going to be icing again. That wastes a little more time. But ultimately, it will lead to another face-off alongside of Carter Casey's net.
I'm surprised Coach Burgess doesn't have that top line out there. Oh, here they come. As I'm saying it, here comes Ivan Rabkin, Tynan Lawrence, and David Deputy. These three have only scored 1 tonight. They haven't been as loud as you'd expect these three to be, because all 3 of them are elite goal scorers in this league. David Deputy feels like he's due for 1 tonight with the chances he's had, but every offensive zone draw, I expect to see these 3 out there.
Well, Bradley Walker, a key face-off win to Mulgrave. Out to center, Kasiba stopped at the referee's crease, but still got a chance to dump it in. Toll knocked it down. It's volleyed the other way as Rabkin and Walker collide. Now Lawrence forced back into his own zone by Kasiba, who poked it off of his stick. It goes to the end boards, and a steal. Oh, Huck just couldn't quite hang on to it. Looked like he'd taken it away. Now Morick does for Mulgrave, shooting wide. Springs out of the right wing corner, back to Brady. To the end boards, Morick looks over his shoulder, let the puck go by. I think that he thought that Kasiba would stick with it, but he needed the change. He's still out there from the icing call. Now Townsend getting to the ice, breaking up a pass. That helps to keep the Lumberjacks at bay near the Blackhawk blue line. Chase Jete comes up the ring, trying to squeeze through traffic. Pushed it ahead. Townsend to the offensive zone, feeding it into the slot for Morick. Batted up into the air, near the top of the crease. Morick knocked down. Jete carries on. Drops it back to Phelan. Right point. Left side pedal. Fires. Tip. Saved by Peck. Rebound loose near the top of the crease. And Peck couldn't find it, but it goes wide and behind the net. Recovered by Clares and bounced off the wall at the center. Rolling puck. Phelan steps up to keep it away from Spitznagel initially. Now Spitznagel got it back. Gave it right back to Phelan in short order. Michael Phelan for Jete. Nudged it into the offensive zone. Now it comes back his way. He tries a wrist shot. Peck gloves it and decides to pin the puck to the ice with Hawkins lurking.
I'll tell you what, Tim. Teddy Townsend has every excuse tonight to not play any defense with the offensive performance he's had. His last shift, I think he broke up 2 different plays defensively, almost created a scoring chance, and then also took a guy out of the play, finishing his hit. This kid, 44 in black tonight, has been so incredibly impressive, doing every single thing for his team to win this game. Not just scoring, not just making plays, but also putting his body on the line to make sure Muskegon does not go the other way for an offensive scoring chance.
Almost 5 minutes into the third. Face-off won by Stewart. And now Veyu looking for Sanderson, who had a good chance in his last shift. He got it as far as the Hawk line, now trying to recover it after it got out of his reach. Bogus swipes for Waterloo. A couple of assists for him in the opening period. Flipped it Mason's way, but it didn't stay with the Black Hawk forward. Now Compton breaks up a pass. It deflects up into the air in front of the off-ice officials. Lumberjacks recover it. Veyu feeding it to Stewart. Sends one spinning down deep into the Hawk zone. Sanderson after it, trying to keep it moving clockwise. Compton steps in the path of the puck and now banks it off the end boards to Bogus. Nick Bogus having a little trouble with that puck along the ice. Did eventually flip it out to center. Hawkins knocked down the neutral zone. Stewart couldn't bring it back in with possession as Compton absorbs some contact but gets into a tangle up with Veyu. Stewart won it, but centering, he gave it up to Mason. Mason flipped it out to center looking for Hawkins. That was broken up by Sanderson. The teams exchange the puck back and forth across the red line. Now Dexheimer for Muskegon. Accelerates and dribbles it into the offensive zone. Stops on the right wing boards. Drops it back. Van Blaricom shot deflects and missed the net. Now Toll at the left point for Muskegon. He shoots. That was blocked and took a bad bounce, avoiding Ramos. Recovered by Clee. Put it in front, and he had a man cutting toward the net. That was Nestrasil, who scored a big second period goal to start the Muskegon rally. Up the ice comes McMorrow, laying it off for Ramos. Shooting. It never got through as Clee counters the other way. 6.5 minutes into the third. Galanic centering one, missed his target. Nestrasil again. It springs to Ramos. Up the ice, Ramos winds up from center, fires one wide of the Muskegon net. It hits the glass and springs back out to the neutral zone. Now deflected there. Bouncing puck, Ramos just not able to click with Deering. Instead it's Lawrence back to the Hawks end, dragging and losing it. Turning after he found it again along the left boards. Shooting from there, and it's gloved by Casey with contact at the front of the net, and Casey took exception to that from Rabkin, and so did the rest of the Hawks in the vicinity there.
Hunter Ramos says, get away from my goalie. And at 5'9", 160, this kid, the way he absorbs the physicality, I've been so impressed with Hunter Ramos all night. He is fearless. He's speedy. He gets the puck from D zone through the neutral zone into the offensive zone. I've seen him make 4 or 5 incredible cutback plays about 3 feet inside the blue line. Instead of just dumping the puck and forcing something, he actually has the poise to wait for that second wave of offense and create, and then also clearing out the front of his own net. I mean, what an incredible competitor Hunter Ramos is.
He grew up a Fort Wayne Comets fan in northeastern
How about
Indiana.
that?
And is going to Lake Superior State. Lumberjacks win a draw. And a try initially by Rabkin was blocked. Sharp angle try by Lawrence went through the crease and out the other side. Now Townsend, who's got 3 goals and an assist in the game, swipes the puck from Veyu. And for Phelan with room to come from behind his goal. Out to Jete in the neutral zone. Backhanded one that was well behind Morick, who's got the Black Hawk goal in this third period, which has given Waterloo a multi-goal lead again. Lumberjacks dig it off the wall and end up sliding it back down to their own zone. McLaughlin banks it off the end boards. And now Lawrence starts out to center, gave the puck up to Jete. He tried to dump it back in. That came up and hit the linesman, Craig Ford. Caught him in the face. He might be cut. Puck is dumped in. Bogus Goes behind the Black Hawk net to retrieve it, but then had his stick tied up with Rabkin trying to center it. Bogus was in the way. Rabkin, another centering feed. This is broken up at the top of the crease by Compton. Hawks having trouble getting it out, though. As it comes into the left circle, Chris' shot was blocked, and it caroms out to center.
I will say, too, Tim, David Deputy, the top-line right winger for Muskegon, was shaken up on his way back to the Lumberjacks bench. Looks like he's hunched over in a little bit of pain over there on the bench, but I'm sure we'll see him out in the next shift because there's no way he's sitting out the rest of this game.
Here's Hawkins to the offensive zone for Waterloo. Stops right boards. Wings a backhanded feed behind the net. Nobody saw it initially. It came all the way around to Mulgrave, looking for Mason then. That's broken up, and now Mason forced the issue, couldn't quite get it back. Christ, though, having trouble getting it out, and the Hawks steal. Mason trying to move across the high slot, right on the blue line. Tries a shot that's blocked, and the loose puck controlled by Spitznagel. Speeds back to the Black Hawks zone on left wing, wants to center, goes deep into the corner, stops and reverses course back out toward the line, then for Toll, up the wall for Stewart. Stewart moves across the slot after getting off the boards. On his forehand, shooting! Saved by Casey. Second save on a rebound chance, and a third with his blocker! Fans come to their feet as Mulgrave brings it back to the red line and dumps it in. 9 minutes gone in the third period. Blackhawks by 2, 6-4. Dexheimer headed ahead. It went over the stick of Van Blaricom. Could be icing. No, washed out as Van Blaricom and Petal collide behind the Hawk goal. Puck slides counterclockwise Huck's way. Sam Huck, who's got a goal in this game, able to clear it. Veu took it back, then was poke checked by Huck, but Dexheimer was there playing safety back at his blue line. Banked ahead. This time it will be icing against the Lumberjacks with 10:37 left to go in the third. Waterloo Black Hawk FloHockey hockey brought to you in part by Lee Wealth Management, 3404 Midway Drive in Waterloo. Investing for your future. Securities offered through LPL Financial, FINRA, SIPC.
Carter Casey with a flurry of saves. Not one, not two, but three rebound chances there for Muskegon. Drew Stewart had the initial shot, and the Lumberjacks tried to bang away some rebounds, but Casey with a strong blocker save, not only not allowing them to score, but actually getting the puck out of his crease so his teammates can go get the puck out of their own zone.
Hawks win control. White Rabbit to Walker on the end boards. Leaned on by Veu, but capped the puck. Now looking for Huck. He's got room in the right corner. Back to the line. Ryan White Rabbit for Huck one more time. Top of the right circle. Didn't have a shooting lane. Turns back towards the boards and works up the wall. Tried a backhander. That was deflected behind the net. Kasiba there. He's got an assist in this game. And squeezes a pass back to Huck. Rimming it out to the line. White Rabbit almost halfway through the third. Dashing for the corner. Gives the puck to Huck on the way by. He comes to the high slot and shoots. It's blocked. Huck collects it. Back for White Rabbit. Didn't have a chance to let go of a quick chance. Then for Huck, touch pass Petal at the left point. Headed into the corner. Kasiba gathers it there. Nudged away from him, but back to Petal. Half slap shot. Driven wide. White Rabbit along the right half wall. Lifts it to the corner. Dexheimer took it away. Then gave it back. Kasiba brought it out in front. Hawks were starting a change, and no one was there to help out Nick Kasiba after the steal. That's deflected in front of the Black Hawk bench. Deering, fresh off that change, bounces it ahead. McMorrow has a step on his check. He cuts right in, and a low chance missed the net, and also Ramos on the backside with a wide open goal. But McMorrow breaks up a breakout attempt. Then the Lumberjacks recover, and Lawrence speeds to Hawks ice. Poke check by Deering. It comes free behind the Hawk goal, reversed by Phelan. He goes down to Anita trying to help advance it. Chopped away, but now Deering one more time. Lost it as it sent in front. Flipped over the crossbar by Lawrence. Still free near the end wall as a tangle up off the puck with Lawrence cross-checking Deering. Blackhawks fans unhappy with that. Deputy plays the puck toward the right wing corner. Lawrence has the puck back out toward the line. Long shot knocked down. Deering takes it for Waterloo. Hawks come out to center. 3-on-3 now. 4-on-3. Lawrence, one of the players back for the Lumberjacks. Deering dumped it in. Gave Lawrence a whack on the way by.
Right in the back of the leg. A nice little see you later, pal.
A little bit of displeasure for what happened at the other end of the ice. Meanwhile, the puck is back on that end of the rink with Deputy. Up the boards, feeding it to McLaughlin. 2 goals for him. He shoots here. It was deflected over the crossbar. Reed Morick, a big goal in this third period. 8.5 left in the third. Comes up the ice. Morick into the offensive zone. Lays it off. Brady firing. Peck the save, and the rebound just eluded Morick. As the Lumberjacks bounce it back to the line, Nestrasil trying to juggle it ahead. Mulgrave got into his way. Nestrasil, though, with a dump in on net. Casey pushes the puck to Brady. And then for Jete. Got it to the line. Klee took it away. Klee for Nestrasil. Drop pass. Galanic shooting. Missed the short side post. Just over 8 minutes left to go in the third. Behind the Black Hawk net. And pulled away by Klee for Galanic. Then back to Klee on the right boards, wanted to center. It pops up into the air and goes into the protective netting with 7:54 left to play in regulation. Timeout on the ice. 6-4 Blackhawks. We're back in 30 seconds on the Courtyard by Marriott, Blackhawks Network, and 1650 The Fan.
But many people don't have world-class popcorn growing in their neighborhood. Fit Pop is grown better right next door in Cedar Falls. Never fear, you can ship Fit Pop popcorn anywhere in the United States. Think of those people who don't have Fit Pop popcorn at their local grocery store. Send them a Midwestern care package from fit-pop.com. That's fit-pop.com. Fit Pop popcorn. It's a poppin' in Iowa.
Reed Morick's goal, 1 minute and 11 seconds into the third period, has stretched the Blackhawks lead from 5-4 at the start of the period to 6-4 now. It was 5-1 Blackhawks at one point, so there's been a lot of ebb and flow in this game with daily faceoff host Johnny Lazarus. It's been an exciting first game of this Clark Cup final series.
I'm having so much fun. This has been unbelievable back and forth action, and in this third period, what I love most about what Waterloo has done is they're sticking to what made them successful in the early parts of this game. They have a 2-goal lead in the third period, and sometimes teams will sit back and just try to protect that lead. But the Waterloo Blackhawks continue to attack, and they're looking for that third insurance goal because as the way tonight's game has gone, no lead is safe. So credit to the Blackhawks for staying on that gas pedal and really trying to bring it to Muskegon.
7:54 left to play in regulation. Blackhawks 6, Lumberjacks 4. And a face-off coming at the left of Carter Casey, and the Blackhawks on a lot of movement before the draw. We haven't seen a lot of face-offs that have not been successfully managed by both teams and the officials.
The officiating crew has been fantastic tonight. Not many calls. They've let the boys play, and that's exactly what you want in a championship series.
Just one power play each way, and those were, at this point, long forgotten back in the opening period. They had no impact. All the goals in this game scored 5-on-5, which is also notable when you consider how good both teams' power plays have been. Puck is lodged along the inboards behind the Hawk net. Spitznagel digs it out, drops it back to the line. Half slap shot coming to Flex and never got through on the try by Christ. Mason flips it out to center. He was maybe looking for a home run to Hawkins, didn't find it, but now Davatilla comes in and shoots, and Peck gets a piece of it with his blocker. Davatilla collected it on the left wing boards and played it behind the net. Bauer Berry got back to it though. And now turning, Toll. Fed it to center, hopped over a stick. Davatilla slots it back across the Muskegon line, and it's pushed to the corner by Hawkins. He's got a 6-game goal streak that's on the line. 7 minutes left in the third. Hawks would love for him to get another one, but the circumstance at the moment, Robikin had the puck and he lost it as McMorrow speeds right in. He shoots and he missed the net.
Is that McMorrow or McDavid? Oh my God.
A lot of speed there from Brendan McMorrow after Rabkin had it right in the center circle, and all of a sudden it was left free as he overskated it.
Shot out of a cannon.
6:35 to go in the third. Everything settles down for a moment, and the Lumberjacks get moving with Rabkin on right wing to the Blackhawk line, avoiding Bogus, trying to center it. Bogus reached back and snagged the puck, trying to chop it out to center, couldn't get it there. And now Compton jousting it to keep it out of harm's way. The boards at the left of Casey, now nudged out the center by Ramos. He kicks to his stick. Oh, he couldn't quite complete it. He stepped on the puck, and the Lumberjacks just onside. Come back, and Vayu, a chance, and he lifts over the crossbar with Bogus now snapping one that's deflected. Ramos golfing at it, still couldn't get it out, and back behind the Hawk net it goes with 6 minutes left in the third. Fortunately for the Hawks, Compton was the only one there. And it's lifted out to center by Bogus. The Hawks are going to take an icing call here.
You can see the ice is starting to get a little choppy. Guys aren't having such an easy time at controlling and stick handling the puck, but oh my God, Brendan McMorrow with a prime chance to put this game away on the breakaway. I can't get over how quickly he transitioned when he saw the opening for the breakaway. Just couldn't beat Peck to the blocker side, shot it a little bit wide. But this has been, again, Tim, I can't express enough how entertaining this period and this whole game has been.
And so far, this is the lowest scoring of the periods, but boy, that could change in a hurry based on what we've seen. And now we've got a timeout. Timeout on the ice. Just under 6 left to go in the third. 6-4 Blackhawks. Will come back with more. You're listening to Blackhawks Playoff Hockey on 1650 The Fan, KCNC, Cedar Falls, Waterloo, broadcasting on K272GA at FM 102.3, a Koloff media station.
At Green Acre Storage, we can take it. Think of us as storage therapists. We provide clean, safe, secure, climate-controlled storage units in a complete range of sizes. Feel free to unload on us in your enclosed and heated loading area. And ask about our Penske truck rentals and packing supplies. And feel better fast, knowing the storage pros at Green Acres specialize in not judging. We'll keep your stuff and your secrets. Green Acres. Because life is harder. Storage is better.
Waterloo 6, Muskegon 4. The Blackhawks burning their timeout after an icing call. The faceoff will be beside the Blackhawk net. Waterloo Blackhawks playoff hockey brought to you in part by Karen's Print Right. It's wedding and graduation season. Visit Karen's Print Right for invitations and the little touches which can help to set your event apart online at karensprintright.com. And by Priority One Automotive Services with 2 Waterloo locations, University Avenue and LaPorte Road. From basic maintenance to more complex repairs, you can trust Priority One and check out the selection of quality used vehicles at PriorityOneAutomotiveServices.com. 6-4 Blackhawks. And a draw to the stick side of Carter Casey. It's won by Waterloo. Brady Endwall uses the woodwork to rim it up the boards. Morick couldn't get it out. Lawrence takes it back, moves through the circle, got it to the side of the net, chopped away by Walker, and it's free in the corner as the Lumberjack player, that was Galanick, was sent sprawling. Puck came back his way, and Mulgrave took it right away from him as he reached to try to play that one while on the ice. Hawks will dump it in. It's another icing call against Waterloo with 5.5 left to go in the third period.
You got to think Stephen Peck is thinking about coming to the bench soon, right? I'd say the 4-minute mark is the latest that they pull him being down 2 goals. I could see them winning this faceoff, getting offensive zone possession, and then he goes. There's not a lot of time for Muskegon to waste here, down 2.
Well, certainly not going anywhere at the moment as he was leaned with his back up against the crossbar.
Looks like Goldberg.
6-4 in favor of the Blackhawks with 5.5 to go after this most recent icing call. And now Walker, who is not happy with this decision by Josh Rosenbaum, tossed out of the draw.
I will say their first line was just on the ice. Maybe those guys are a little gassed. So once they're back out there, then maybe Peck looks to go to the bench.
Well, the Hawks win the draw. Morick gets it as far as the Muskegon line. Then for Townsend, back for Morick. And all 5 Lumberjacks were back. The Hawks couldn't complete that extra pass they needed in the offensive zone, but they do get a change. And now the puck back toward the Waterloo zone with Nestrasil centering one. Loose near the top of the Blackhawk crease. Shot by Klee, fought off, rebound. It hopped over Chris' stick. It's still loose between the hash marks. Klee pushes it wide, now turns and drops it back. McLaughlin with 2 goals in the game sets up a one-timer from Bayou. Save made, rebound. We got a penalty that's going to be called, and this is going to be on the Lumberjacks.
The captains were going at it with each other. David Klee and Reed Morick. It looks like they're taking Klee, but those guys were going at it with each other. I'm surprised they're only taking 1 here.
It's a high sticking call on David Klee, and the Blackhawks will go to a power play for the first time since the mid-stages of the opening period. And David Klee is voicing his displeasure at referee Grant Hendrick.
And when your captain takes a penalty at this point of the game, it's even more frustrating. Not saying it's his fault. I mean, that looks like a pretty fair 50-50 battle in front of the net. I think it was just Klee that got the extra jab to the face of Morick, and you got to call that if you're the officials staring right at it. So, unfortunately, your captain is the one that goes to the box, puts your team down shorthanded with 4:55 to go. Now you can't really pull your goalie right till after you kill this off. It's tough.
And the dangerous Blackhawk power play unit comes to the ice with their first opportunity to begin from the blocks as McMorrow gets it to Compton, fires, save, rebound, Waterloo scores! Brady Deering puts back the rebound, and here come the Hawks with a power play goal. It's a 3-goal lead again at 15-14 of the third period as Brady Deering cashes in late.
The explosiveness of Brendan McMorrow to get off the wall, attack the net, and then make a slick backhanded feed across the slot to Dylan Compton, who wastes no time one-timing that puck. It squeezes through the legs of Stephen Peck, and Grady Deering is right there on the back post, wasting no time to bang it home and put this thing away. You have to think a 7-4 lead is safe enough, but by the look on your face, I'm not sure you're too comfortable, Tim. But you got to talk about the explosiveness by McMorrow, to attack.
Well, we've seen combinations of goals on several different occasions in this game where multiple goals were scored in less than 2 or 3 minutes. Certainly could happen again with 4.5 to go in the third period. 7-4 Hawks with a dump in by Townsend. The puck is retrieved by Vayu for McLaughlin, who nearly ran into the referee and now tries to break it out. And that one was knocked down by Morick. So Townsend moves behind the Muskegon net. Left wing corner. Townsend drops it back for Jete out to the line. Shot coming from Mulgrave, didn't get through. And it's Rabkin harassed by Morick, who lifted his stick. And Morick knocked to a knee, but ties it up. Now Mulgrave finds it, flips it across the slot looking for McMorrow. He finds it in the corner. Spikes it off the end wall as the Hawks start changing. Just over 4 minutes left to go in the third. And the Lumberjacks send it through neutral territory with Spitznagel there to tip it down to the end boards. And off to the bench comes Peck for a sixth attacker. So 6 on 5 now with just under 4 minutes left to go, and the Blackhawks up by 3. It's along the end wall behind the Blackhawk net. And squirts back out toward the line, knocked down by Clares. Fed up the boards. Lawrence turning, moves toward the side of the net, brought it in front. Muskegon scores a 6 on 5 goal with Stefanik near the top of the crease to bang in the chance created by Lawrence, bringing it out of the corner.
Well, I guess I spoke too soon. Danny Clares makes the play at the blue line, keeping the puck in the zone. And then Tynan Lawrence, the 16-year-old, attacks from the goal line right to the front of the net, trying to stuff it in himself. And right at the doorstep is Stefanik to put home the I don't even know if you can call that a rebound. It was Lawrence's attempt that actually doesn't get off. And Stefanik is right there just to shovel it into the blocker side of Carter Casey. And again, this hockey game is far from over.
7-5 with 3:35 left to go. Peck is back in the net, at least for the moment. 65 combined shots on goal in the game, leading to a dozen goals between the two teams. As Lawrence wins the draw back to McLaughlin. I've got a question about this as Puck nearly takes one away, and now the Hawks do get control. Walker lifting it up and out of play. Okay, so here's the question as the puck goes out of play. Lumberjacks have battled and battled and battled. They've not been shy about using this top line and putting them out there to try to get the game back into balance. But they've got to play again tomorrow when it's a clean sheet. And do you wonder about that decision? You don't want to give up a game that you think you can win, but at the same time, do you want to risk wearing out this group for tomorrow?
It's a great question, and honestly, being that it's a 2-goal game, I'd say if you get to the 1.5-minute mark and it's still 2 goals, maybe then you kind of, say, hey, I don't know if we're going to get this one, but it's a championship series. You got to unload the clip. You got to give everything you've got. You never know when this series could take a turn. I mean, if they score with 2.5 minutes left, you got to burn the guys out, right? It's a great question, though. It's tough, and that's why I'm not a coach.
Well, here's Lawrence right back out there. He ran into Huck, who nearly poked it away. It came back to Vayu, though. They're sending Huck the stop sign at the moment as the puck comes to the Blackhawk line. The Lumberjacks coach is looking on to see what happens. Comes off the boards, Deputy across the slot, shooting. It goes up and out of play as Casey got a piece of it, and Peck is back on the bench now. 6 on 5 once again for this faceoff in the Blackhawk zone with 3 minutes left to go.
David Deputy has such a good shot. You see it right there. His release is so quick. He had 8 goals in 9 games coming into this game tonight. Hasn't been able to find the back of the net in this contest here in game 1. But you get a sense of how dangerous his shot is right there. Carter Casey was surprised by that one, I think. It just got him a little bit up high and went out of play. But David Deputy just seems like he's due for one. He's had a lot of chances tonight.
The net is empty, 7-5. The Blackhawks lead, 3 minutes exactly left to go in the third period. Shots on goal even at 33 apiece. Face off the left of Carter Casey. Big night for offense.
Tynan Lawrence is loading up in the neutral zone. I think if they win the draw, he's going to explode in for a feed coming down the left side. This is a set play for sure that they must work on and practice a lot. I've never seen a setup like this.
Deering and Nestrasil for the draw, which comes to Peddle. He shields the puck, spiked it off the boards. Stefanik had it, he lost it, and it's flipped through the neutral zone, but knocked down by Lawrence on the attempt for the empty netter by Chase Chute. 2-goal Blackhawk lead with under 3 to play as Lawrence works up through the center circle, flies one toward the right wing corner, hits the lip of the boards, Peddle to it first. He's got Lumberjacks on either shoulder, though. It's dug out, Stefanik with it, dropping it back for Vayu, then to the deep slot. Rabkin with a shot that's blocked by Morick. It lands back in the Muskegon zone. No chance for icing here because that was a shot block. It rolls into the corner. Actually saw Brendan McMorrow score a goal on a shot block like that earlier this season. Meanwhile, here's Lawrence back up the ice to the Hawk line. Steers toward the right wing corner on his backhand. Flipped it across the face of goal wide. Now Moore checks it down again, but McLaughlin got in his way, so he couldn't try for the empty net. Brady will. That one was blocked, but does ricochet out to center. Just over 2 minutes left to go in the third.
A little friendly fire. Brady tried to go for the empty net, but it hit Grady Deering on the back end there.
McLaughlin, 2 goals in the game for Muskegon. Back as far as the Blackhawk line. Winged one toward the net. Casey knocked it down. Settles the puck for Mulgrave. Sends it around the glass. It bounces down into the Muskegon zone. Chased by Townsend. It's going to be icing against Waterloo.
Oh, I don't know about that call. Ivan Rapkin didn't even attempt to play the puck on the boards. It goes right by him. That's a smart play on his part to try to draw the icing, but you got to think you got to attempt to touch the puck when it's that close to you. That's pretty wild to me.
Will Muskegon take their timeout? The Blackhawks already have. The Lumberjacks do have 6 out there, although they made a late change to make that happen.
And I thought having the guy hang back might have been an offensive strategy, but it looks like now it's just to protect the empty net.
Lumberjacks win the draw. McLaughlin from the left point shooting. It deflected and went wide. Van Blaricombe kicking it behind the Blackhawk goal, trying to get it out in front. Got it as far as Spitznagel, then for Klee left wing corner. David Klee shoots. Save Casey, rebound. Batted up into the air. It lands near the blue line. McMorrow trying to advance it. Couldn't get it out in his zone, but now Townsend does. And he'll take the icing call here as it ricochets down. No, washed out this time. 1:20 left to go. Hawks up by 2. 7-5 with the Blackhawks in front as Rapkin brings it back to the Hawks zone. Got separated from the puck as he collided with Mulgrave. Rimmed up the boards by Phelan. Moore couldn't advance it. Although it was held in by McLaughlin, he gave it up to Phelan and ricochets behind the Hawk net. Klee trying to center it. It comes back to the line. Held in McLaughlin. Skating away from Moorick to the boards on the right side. 1 minute left to go. As the pass came into the high slot, Van Blaricombe couldn't kick to his stick. Deering finds the puck, fires it out toward the line. Deflected. Moorick chasing it down. Reed Moorick brings it in with the open net in front of him. He scores! Hawks win! Hawks win! Waterloo is going to take game 1 against the Muskegon Lumberjacks as the Blackhawk captain scores his second of the period with 49 and 7/10 seconds left to go.
And that is a bend, don't break moment for the Waterloo Blackhawks. It got a little concerning when the score was 7-5, but Reed Moorick, his second goal of the period, he drew the penalty that led to the power play goal by Deering, and that is your captain stepping up when you need him the most. What a third period performance from number 16 in black, the leader of this Blackhawks group, to put away this game and send these fans home happy after what has been a wild 60 minutes of game 1 of the Clark Cup final.
Well, the Blackhawks get to 8 in the first game of the Clark Cup final. 8 was their high score during the season. They did it against the Sioux Falls Stampede in late January. And we're going to have an icing call against the Hawks here with 43.5 seconds left to play in the third. The 8 goals for Waterloo during a postseason game. That's the biggest number in a long, long time for Waterloo in the playoffs. Going to have to rewind well back. We'll get the number for you, but I believe the last time was in a win against the Danville Wings back on April 21st, 2004. Off the restart in the Blackhawks zone, the puck goes behind the Waterloo net. Bogus trying to get it out. Dexheimer took it away for a shot that was blocked by Kasiba, up out of play.
Nothing stupid here, nothing stupid. Don't get yourselves in trouble for game 2.
It's Walker and Sanderson near the side of the Blackhawk goal with the linesman stepping in between. 32 and 1/10 left to go in the third period. Not quite the game we expected, but plenty of intrigue.
Worth the price of admission, as they say, right?
And with that, we'll mention that game 2 is tomorrow at 6:35, and tickets are on sale now at tickets.waterlooblackhawks.com. Seats have been going fast, but there are still good seats available for that matchup in game 2 tomorrow. Hawks win a draw. White Rabbit near his own blue line. Skates it as far as the center stripe, dumps it in, takes a check from Sanderson. Behind the net, stopped there by Peck. Picked back up by Lance. Puck harassing him. And now Kasiba a takeaway. Kasiba outside the left circle, put it in front. Goes all the way into the opposite corner. Springing back toward White Rabbit. Working up the wall toward the corner, reverses course, 10 seconds left. White Rabbit's going to drop it back. Will Huck try one more shot? No, he gives it to Bogus. He'll shoot. It doesn't get through. You can cue up the final horn at Young Arena. It's official. The Waterloo Black Hawks defeat the Muskegon Lumberjacks 8-5 and take game one. Waterloo now within 2 wins of earning the Clark Cup for the first time since 2004. And the Muskegon Lumberjacks have never won a game in the Clark Cup final. Their only other appearance at this stage of the postseason was a 3-game sweep at the hands of the Sioux Falls Stampede in 2015. Johnny Lazarus, I'm going to get your thought about this one now that it is official.
Well, this one was incredibly fun to watch. It had everything. It had goal scoring. It had great saves. It had physicality. And at the end of this game, too, it was Carter Sanderson and Grady Deering in a little scuffle. And Sanderson actually was shooting Deering's stick away, setting the table for tomorrow night's game and how physical we might see these two teams go at it tomorrow night. But if you are the Waterloo Blackhawks, you got to feel great. You got to be a little bit concerned about how you defended in the second half of that game. But the fact that you were able to roll with the punches and come out on top, it's a huge win.
Well, our post-game coverage is coming up. The Cadillac Extreme Bowling Center post-game show on its way to you after a break. We'll recap all the details about this one. We'll set the stage for game 2. And, of course, we'll have the Karen's print right. Waterloo Blackhawks 3 stars of this game. Waterloo 8, Muskegon 5 after game 1 of the Clark Cup final. Game 2 coming up tomorrow. We'll certainly be talking about that in the minutes ahead. Back after this on the Courtyard by Marriott, Blackhawks Network, and 1650 The